Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 266. We're missing a few people tonight. Max is out doing some stuff, and Click and MVG. I'm sure they're back with us next weekend, but we still have a bunch of stuff to go over. Nate will probably just randomly pop in, by the way. Like, he seems to do that a lot. He just shows up. So I would be shocked if he just randomly drops in here while we're talking about a couple of things. But still have a bunch of people here. Jordan making his return. Jordan French, how we doing?
Good. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Good to have Jordan here. We have RGT85.
Hello.
Good to have Sean here. We have our guest tonight. That is Gene Park. Gene, how we doing?
How's it hanging, guys? Feeling good?
Doing good, man.
Good to have Gene here with us. We got OJ, Player Essence.
What is good? Shout outs to everybody that came through to the pre-show beforehand. See a lot of people in the chat from there. So thank you guys for joining, and thanks for having me on, John.
And then we got Evan. Evan about to drop the jerseys here soon, so keep on the lookout for that. Those will be legit. Just had a Mario Strikers, so
should be hopefully ready by next week before the show. We'll probably just announce them then.
I'm excited. I'm gonna be picking some of those up. So that should be a lot of fun. I see Dark Type here, membering up, saying happy Saturday, everyone. What is a Sega Saturn game you would like to see get remade, popular or not?
Oh, Guardian Heroes, right?
Panzer Dragoon Saga?
Panzer Dragoon Saga, Guardian Heroes.
I just bought Guardian Heroes for $5 on Xbox Live.
But could you play it?
I couldn't fucking play it in the last day or so because of the fucking Xbox Live outage. But I did play a little bit of it last night, and it's it's Guardian Heroes. You can play it in the new Xbox Live Arcade filter or the classic pixel look. It looks great. It's awesome.
Saga's interesting because they lost the source code for that, didn't they?
Supposedly.
Oh,
I would like to see Enemy Zero, actually.
Oh, I thought you're going to the library here on this. Okay.
Enemy Zero was awesome. I remember playing it as a kid and just being blown away by the CG cutscenes. And the gameplay loop is interesting because you're in outer space on a ship, and there's different parts of the ship, and there's an alien on the ship, but the catch is the alien is invisible. So you have a meter that beeps when you get closer to the alien. So it'll be like dun 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 dun, dun, dun when he's really close, and you got to fire a shot to stun him, but you got to fire it at the right time. And he goes in there and he's ripping people's heads off and stuff, and it's all in these CG. It's the precursor to it stars the character who was in D and D2, Laura, who is a blonde chick. So
no kidding.
Yeah, they're all kind of within a similar universe. Like Kimberly, who is in D2, is a character in this.
That's sick. I gotta check that out then.
Yeah, it's super rare, but it's awesome. Definitely a bit dated, but I love it.
I never knew there was a prequel to D or an Alan Wake to D or something like that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't have the original cases. I just have the discs, but I have
Enemy Zero. That's dope.
It's 4 discs long too. By the way.
I see the resemblance now. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Let's go to a Discord question, Evan. Let's start with that.
We could start with, I guess, this one, which is kind of one of our. We've had it before. What do you think the potential idea of having a new segment on the Spawncast where Spawnwave Media Discord members can have a limited time to call into the server to discuss about topics? We've talked about the logistics of it, and I mean it's literally $1 to get into the Discord. And that's not a lot of money for someone to just
like a call-in segment or something.
We thought it might be okay if we do a pre-record of something they have as a question.
Ooh, like voicemails.
Sort of, yeah. Because I mean, you just let someone in for $1. Next thing you know, it's just lots of bullshit.
The voicemail thing would be interesting.
It could be.
They could leave a voice message asking a question or comment or something. We just play it.
Yeah, I got the little sound thing here that I could just press a button and play some eventually.
Oh, maybe we can do that because you can kind of pre-screen them.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. Pre-screening on a live show, huge.
Yeah, maybe we could do that. That would be interesting. Okay, that's a good one to look into. I think that's a good happy medium there. Okay, what's another Discord question, Evan?
Let's see. We got, since Bandai Namco was the developer of Star Fox Assault, could their rumored 3D remake be Star Fox related? Maybe Adventure and Assault together as one game.
They should just do Adventures. That's all.
Just do Adventures.
That's all they need.
No, do Assault.
Well, here's the thing, OJ.
Down with Assault, yeah.
If they do Assault, which would be fine. I would like Assault, but if they do Assault, it's going to be something where it's like you play it a few times and then it's like whatever. I feel like Adventures has just so much more length to it because it's essentially structured a lot more like a Zelda game, more so than a Star Fox.
We already
game.
have Zelda on the Switch. We already have adventure games on the Switch. But we don't have a Star Fox game.
Right, so that's why you bring Star Fox Adventure, and then you kill two birds with one stone.
It's a skin. It's a skin.
No, there's flying parts.
I think they could. I think they could remake Adventures and they just make a new Star Fox so that they kind of get best of both worlds there.
Yeah, we'll just like mash them together. I don't know. Just make a new game. I don't know. Jesus
I mean, a new game
Christ.
would be good. Yeah, a new game would be nice. But I almost wonder. I feel like they don't want to make just another Star Fox game. You're right, Gene. They probably want to do maybe they kind of want to do both, where you like go down to planets and get out of your Arwing and stuff too. Like,
Shout out to Starlink, a game that nobody played, but it was actually,
dude. Starlink was amazing.
I like that game.
Right. They butchered it. They butchered their own sales. They butchered it. If they made a normal game, people would have played it more.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, the mark, if they just were normal for this one game, then it totally would have sold,
It would have done a lot better. The game's great on all systems. It's fantastic, even without Star Fox stuff.
You don't need the Toy Slice stuff, and without the Star Fox stuff, it's still a dope game. So,
but the Star Fox stuff made it better, though.
Absolutely, that's the whole reason why I signed up, and it's the whole reason why I didn't do anything else but beat the Star Fox stuff. Why wouldn't I?
Because you had Captain Whitebread was the main character who was just boring as hell. But yeah, the Star Fox stuff was great, and it was integrated into the main story, and it didn't feel like tacked on. Like they really should have just made that a Star Fox game. Yeah. I think. And I think they would have done much better, but hindsight's 2020.
No, we were saying that people were I'm pretty sure you said that and we were all saying that actually like before it was.
I got my enjoyment out of it.
Let's go over to our first topic here. Like I said, if Nate pops in, we'll kind of work with it there. We're gonna kind of go in order with this because it's this timeline of events when it comes to acquisitions that then turn into rumors. So we kind of have to start with Embracer. So Embracer and Square Enix definitely had the biggest story of the week. It was in a deal worth $300 million. Embracer Group set to acquire the three major Western studios from Square Enix. Several intellectual properties go along with it, including Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, and Legacy of Kain. The studios involved are Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix Montreal. The internet was definitely surprised with not only the announcement of the studio IPs, but also the price. Many felt was too low. Square Enix claims that the sale will allow them to focus more so on their development efforts in Japan, as well as cloud AI and blockchain ventures. On Embracer's side, this deal will drive their employee count to around 14,000, with 10,000 being developers. At this time, Embracer claims to have over 230 projects in development, with at least 30 having a whatever AAA budget actually means. The deal is set to complete later this summer. How surprised was everyone when we found out that Embracer was not only buying Tomb Raider, but then another 49 or so intellectual properties, as well as three major Western studios with 1,100 employees from Square Enix for $300 million?
I think the whole thing is bizarre, and I don't think this was a business decision just to make a business decision. I feel like this is the start of another business decision, and they wanted to essentially, because I mean, really, when you boil it down, they got rid of all their Western studios for very cheap, and there's a lot of good IPs that are tied to it. Tomb Raider saw lots of success with the reboot. Deus Ex is a great franchise that I think in the modern era, if they actually wanted to, I mean, you play, what was it, Mankind Revolution?
Mankind Divided and
Humankind Revolution.
Human Revolution.
Mankind Divided. Yeah.
See, I never played Mankind Divided, but I played Human Revolution.
Okay.
And that was an amazing game. And then you have other.
I freaking love it. It's so good.
Yeah, Mankind Divided is good.
And they hold up over time too. So I feel like they're doing this for another reason, and maybe they're trying to make themselves available, which obviously we'll talk about later.
Let me throw this number at you. David Gibson estimates that the Marvel licenses, specifically with those games, that being the Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy, lost them about $200 million. It sounds like that's an estimate, but if it's anything more than $100 million, that is devastating at that point. I mean, consider the fact that I'm like, hey, Sean, you can make a game with the Avengers and you can make a game with Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's like, how much money are we gonna make? It's like, no, you're gonna lose $200 million. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
You know, when I saw this deal, I was looking at it and I was thinking, for the longest time, I was thinking, this is not a natural fit. And I said this from the beginning. That's cool that they got Tomb Raider and all that, but I'm old and I grew up with Square Soft, just Square Soft beforehand, and this doesn't like them. Tomb Raider was never them. Deus Ex was never them, and they bought them to try to get into the Western market, and it didn't work. And they're expensive to make. Like, I've seen Square Enix's reports. People talk about how much it sells. Why people buy Tomb Raider when it's $20? Why everybody doesn't rush out and buy Tomb Raider at full price? They buy it when it's discounted. Deus Ex was the discount king.
Well, I will say, counter that, I will say with Shadow of the Tomb Raider, in the first 4 months, they sold nearly 4.5 million copies.
But it ended up selling 9 million.
Yeah, but like in the first 4 months or so, it was full price at almost 5 million.
And I get that, but that's clearly not the type of profit that they're looking to make, because it's not they're not making hand over money fist on their. I mean, you can see their sales reports.
I think the reason they were losing so much money, it seems to me this Marvel stuff really kicked them over the edge. But I kind of question Square's management in general.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, totally.
I don't think that Tomb Raider for them is a natural fit. If somebody, somebody else can buy Tomb Raider and make better Tomb Raider games, or make it profitable to where they're making a tons of money off of it, then let them sell it. Everyone's asking Konami to sell their IPs, right? If you're not going to use them, sell them. So Square Enix, to me, they don't need to be the people who publish Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider was around before Square Enix was doing it. So if somebody else, if Embracer Group can make a great Tomb Raider, Deus Ex has been dead. That franchise has been dead for how long now? The last one was what?
I'm trying to figure this out, because how many copies did Final Fantasy VII Remake sell? I feel like that was about 5 million copies, wasn't it?
Last I checked, it was like 7 million or 8 million.
7 million.
But yeah.
Because then
not much.
Yeah.
Honestly, when you think about it, not much.
For that game, not much. But I mean, obviously,
not much.
Final Fantasy 15 and Final Fantasy 14, those did really, really well for them. Like a lot better than
15 did well. Yeah.
15 did well. Yeah.
Tomb Raider and Deus Ex will do, and I think that also tie into like merch sales and all that. Like Final Fantasy is just more popular in everything wise. Like their Japanese IPs are just more popular for them in terms of everything. So if they can just sell it and get rid of it and let somebody else do it, that's fine. Because I never felt that it was a natural fit for Square Enix in the first place. Personally, that's just, like I said, that's just me. And if somebody else can make a better one, then they sold it for 300 million. Let somebody else make awesome Tomb Raider games, Like, and they had a bunch of dead IPs. They don't use other dead IPs like Legacy of Kain. They're not using all that. So sell it. Like,
they're definitely not. That's been dead for a while.
So let somebody else make it then.
To be fair,
we got Jeff Grubb in the chat. He says Luigi's Mansion 3 sold twice as much as Final Fantasy Remake, and what can you say?
No, it didn't.
It did.
Luigi's Mansion is like if Final Fantasy VII Remake sold 7 million, Luigi's Mansion is not at 14 million for Luigi's.
Yeah, it was at like 14 million or something.
No, I thought it was like at 10 or 11 million.
I don't know.
I would see what. I gotta look up FF7 Remake sales, but
I don't think Square Enix has updated it in a while, though. To be honest.
Oh.
Yeah, neither has been updated in a while, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see 3.5 million. This has it more. Oh, it has been a while. Yeah, 5 million was the last number I can find. Ooh.
Okay. Wow.
That was August 7th, 2020. So it's been a while before they've updated those numbers.
Mm.
Ooh. Okay. Got it.
I don't remember. I remember someone saying that it wasn't selling that great on Epic Games either.
12 million. Jeff says 12 million for
12 million
for Luigi. Jeff, you just want to come in here, Jeff. Nate's not even here. Jeff, you want to step in?
12 million for Luigi's Mansion, man. That's crazy. That's more than Ghost of Tsushima,
Yeah, that's pretty good for Luigi's Mansion.
You could just bring the voice, Jeff, if you don't have a camera or anything.
There you go.
So I'm the only two journalists I like. All right, we're in good shape here.
There you go.
So I'm looking at this as Yeah, I think it's Square just consolidating. They're like, this isn't working. The Marvel stuff really hurt them, I feel like. And I just think they were like, nope, we're out.
He's in the car.
Oh, okay, cool. Jeff Gross.
Is
That's fine. That's fine.
Is anyone
Yeah,
here
it's
still
standing.
playing Marvel's Avengers? Because I've actually been playing it this entire
Have you?
time.
Wow.
I went back to
interesting.
it, but I didn't
And-
really
and-
notice
and-
enough different.
Yeah, it's still the same game. It's still
Yeah.
the exact same loop. You just do the same.
Really?
You just still do the same
It's-
three. Like you stand on one plate and then you stand on the other plate and you stand on the other plate.
Yeah.
You unlock it. You get the chest.
Wow.
And then, and then
it's still
hopefully
the
you
same
get gear
gameplay.
that helps the character you're playing, and if not, oh well. Like,
That's it. You
I
just
feel
rinse
like
and repeat.
this
It's the
is why-
same enemy types. That's it. Nothing's changed.
This is why I think Square is like their worst enemy right now, because their management, it might be Microsoft level right now when it comes to that. Like, I'm looking at this, and some of the really the issues they've had seems to be with them working with, I guess, studios that aren't internal to them. Because like Final Fantasy VII Remake comes out, people obviously controversy around the direction of it. The game itself was quality. Like everyone's like, this is
amazing.
a good game. Yeah, it's a great game.
Amazing game.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I would say 15, same deal. I know again there's controversy around that game.
Amazing game. I love it.
Good game.
Yeah.
High quality game. But then you get to Babylon's Fall and you're like, what happened here? That was them managing outside of it. The Avengers.
Balan Wonderland.
Yeah, the Avengers, I still feel like the Avengers wasn't supposed to be a live service game until like halfway through development. Because if you play the single player quote unquote content of that, you follow Kamala Khan through it, and it feels like Guardians of the Galaxy for a while, where you're playing that, and that's a great game. But then it turns into Destiny halfway through the game.
You feel the change. Like you literally feel the change as you're playing the game. It's ridiculous, you know.
Yes.
And then they never figured out what to do like afterwards. So, like the most exciting parts were at the end of the campaign. You can't even find MODOK again, you know. Like the only two villains you fight in Marvel's Avengers are the same two villains they launch with, Taskmaster and Abomination. That's it.
That was the best, fighting the giant super cinematic boss and then having them be like, all right, enjoy these two little ones over here.
Yeah. And then if you've been part of the Avengers community, like you've been getting these monthly blogs, the blogs say nothing. All they say is, here's what's in the store this week. Here's what's on sale this time, and here's some community picks from the community. We'll see you online the next month again. And then it's
Can I ask you a
the exact
question,
same
Gene?
thing for like, huh?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, what's up?
Who the hell is part of the Avengers community? Like, what type of people are part of the Avengers?
There are literally like,
community? I'm sorry, I gotta ask.
like dozens of us.
Dozens.
Man. It's a tiny community. It's like sad. It's like sad times, man.
Wow.
But it's been interesting to be part of it and like just be part of this like miserable
Let me
people
check some
who are
Steam
like
numbers.
getting nothing and like asking for like we're still asking for the same stuff since the beginning of launch, you know, and nothing's changed.
Check for depression after being part of that community.
Yeah.
Shout out to Babylon's Fall though. They had one concurrent player yesterday.
That's solid.
Yeah.
Avengers is down to
Heaven's Fall. I haven't gone that deep yet. So
yeah.
no.
Avengers
though.
Avengers is
Yeah.
down to 412 24-hour peak now. So
Okay.
It's getting
okay,
there.
Okay. So we had that. They did Left Alive. They did The Quiet Man.
Oh, that was great. That was fantastic.
Yeah. I think at this point it's more or less Square. It just needs to do what they're good at, and that's like the Final Fantasies, the Dragon Quests, and Team. Just leave Team Asano. Let Team Asano do what they do. Okay, don't try to.
Kingdom Hearts,
Kingdom Hearts,
Dragon
yeah.
Quest, Final Fantasy, Team
Final Fantasy
Asano.
14.
Yeah, do that. Nier's very good, so keep going with that.
I kind of think that if they didn't have Final Fantasy 14, I think they'd be in some trouble right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Like they make a lot of money off that, and if they didn't have it, I kind of think they'd be like
I don't
actually
know what
looking for a bailout.
I don't know what bag they got for Final Fantasy 16 though. To be, it seems like it was probably a lot, but yeah, maybe not enough to sustain for a long period. But I'm guessing Sony paid them a lot for that because Final Fantasy 15 sold a ton across all the different platforms, Xbox and everything. So I'm guessing
usually
the
the idea, to my knowledge, is they estimate how many would sell on Xbox. That's probably what they had to buy out, and they were like, "All right, we'll give you this amount to cover that." Because out of the platforms, I'm sure if you have to look around, it was probably Xbox, then PC, then PlayStation when it comes to like what's sold the least to the most and all that.
Oh, absolutely.
So they probably looked at it and they said, okay, we'll give you X amount of dollars to cover, I don't know, like 1 million or 2 million copies sold on the Xbox, and you just keep it exclusive.
I remember it's 15 selling well on PC.
It was a big deal because they even had benchmarks for it, and people were benchmarking their video cards and stuff with it. It was like
it was a good benchmark game. Yeah.
You needed a whole hard drive for it, but yeah.
Then they got to like the mods and everything they were doing. So there was a lot to like about it there with that one. And I hope that Square can find their way again and stop doing this, because they struck out with Avengers and Marvel properties. There's a problem there. So.
That's just that sad thing, like I'm old enough where when you see a Squaresoft or Enix game, like you're just like oh, this could be quality, right? But now like Square Enix is putting out some of the worst games of the year, like regularly,
Yeah.
So like that's crazy when you think about it,
What about what's going on with Embracer Group? Okay, formerly known THQ Nordic Games, all of this. Over the last decade, they've been acquiring a lot of intellectual properties and a lot of talent. They have built a spider web of studios and publishers that act independently of each other. They're reviving things like Time Splitters. Everyone seems surprised that they just randomly bought these studios and these intellectual properties. But like, I've been covering Embracer for years now. Evan knows, he had a Newswave. You've been talking about Embracer Group forever now. And this actually did not. The thing that surprised me maybe was the price and the fact that Tomb Raider's changing hands. But I was not shocked to see Embracer pop up with this, because they are extremely aggressive with acquisitions.
Yeah,
they are
the European
financing.
10 cent.
They are doing a lot to make it happen, and they still have another $1 billion, by the way, to spend. So look out for that. But they are looking to build an empire, and they seem to want to have almost a game a month come out, and they are no stranger to going back and getting old IPs and remastering them. They're the ones who just randomly one day dropped Sphinx on the Switch. Just their Sphinx. It's like they didn't do a lot of work to it, but they put it out there. Red Faction Remastered.
They updated Titan Quest. They updated it.
They did.
Yeah.
And Saber's good at that kind of stuff. They'll come in and they'll do the updates. They'll make this stuff work on newer hardware and all
Saber
this.
is quality.
Well, it's not even an update. They expanded it. They added more to a game that's been dead for almost a decade. They're like, let's put more in.
It kind of seems like the internet, like the forums you always see where people are like, let's go revive this game, and this game. Figured out how to form a massive publisher, and they're just out there buying old IPs to revive them. That's kind of what Embracer feels like right now.
That's why when go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, now you pair them with Crystal Dynamics, who is a high quality. They're a high quality studio. They can put out really good games. You get Eidos Montreal, who, Guardians of the Galaxy was a good game. Like, people didn't buy it because the Avengers was so bad, but I feel like that really put them off. And Square Enix Montreal, they'll probably rename them. They might even sell off portion of Crystal Dynamics to Microsoft for all we know, because they are taking 1,100 employees. But like that, all of a sudden, just bolstered Embracer's like workforce overnight.
And that's what makes the acquisition kind of exciting from Embracer, because I was like, oh, Embracer, they have no shame when it comes to like remastering things,
Oh yeah.
So it's like, like if I could get Thief re-thieved, or like I don't give a shit what you call it, whatever,
any IP that they named, and they named a couple of them, I'm going to tell you now, they're remastering it. Anything they named, and I think they named Thief. I think they named Legacy of Kain.
Yeah.
Obviously Tomb Raider. They might go back and redo Tomb Raider. Like, they might just try to repackage that too. Not like the newer ones, maybe the older ones, how they had like the Tomb Raider Legends and like all that. They might go get those. So I don't be shocked if you start seeing these randomly pop up on the eShop. They pop up on the PlayStation Store. It could get out of hand with them. So go back at the older Deus Ex games. It get fun.
Tomb Raider for the Switch. Let's go.
Yes, that's the other thing. They do seem to enjoy putting games on the Switch, and they have Saber, and Saber got Witcher running on the Switch.
Yes.
Saber's good.
Saber's crazy good.
They did what other? Well,
they did Warframe, right? Were they the ones on the Warframe transfer as well?
That was Panic Button.
Oh, that was Panic. That's right.
Yeah. But the Saber, that was one of the most talented things I've seen in a long time from a developer, is getting Witcher not only running on the Switch, but completely fitted on one cartridge.
No, their most impressive game, though, outside of that, was NBA Playgrounds.
I mean, it worked. It just
Joke, chat. Sorry.
gosh.
A very bad joke. But no, they didn't make NBA Playgrounds.
They've done a ton of they've done a ton of stuff.
Yeah, Saber was involved with Crisis, I think, too.
Yep, they did all the Crisis games. They did
They did the Halo games on PC.
Yep,
All the
they
Halo
did.
games.
Yep. So they know what they're doing. So they and I also think you're going to see Embracer make brand new titles out of these two. So if you're fans of these games that's changed hands, Embracer will actually do something with them. Square just forgot they existed.
I got a question, John. Is Embracer a supercomputer? What?
They've changed their name a couple times, by the way, and I was trying to figure out if this was on purpose. They were called they were called Nordic Games. They bought the remains of THQ, and then they became THQ Nordic, and then they changed to, was it Embracer AB? And then they changed to Embracer.
I haven't seen a single person. Though. I don't.
AB. Dude, if I post an image of their entire publishing lineup and their studios, you actually have to follow a graph to figure out if a certain game is going to be in, like, you know how they announced already, THQ Nordic is doing like a showcase in August. They announced it like well in advance. People come to them and go, oh, you're going to show Time Splitters. They go, no, that's not us. And you're like, wait, hold on. Embracer owns Time Splitters. Why wouldn't you show it there? They're like, no, that's Deep Silver and Free Radical. And that's under Embracer, I believe, not us. We're THQ Nordic, okay?
I'm mixed. I'm confused.
Dude, if I drop, there is a literal diagram that I had to show in Newswave because I'm like, no one is going to understand what's happening while I talk about this.
I wasn't looking. I was just listening, so I didn't see the diagram.
I will have to. No,
it should still be in the drive right now.
I'm gonna have to get this thing because I saw it and I was like, what is going on here? Just to figure out who's working on what. Yeah, let me see. It's probably in here.
No, it's 100% in the drive. I don't think we took it out.
Here it is. I see it. I'm going to download this. There we go. But yeah, it's out of hand with Embracer Group now. They're going to keep buying. So you're going to see them pop up again at some point. Let me see. Drop it in there. There we go. Okay, that is their spider web of studios and who's publishing what.
That's a lot of studios, man.
Yeah.
They got Koch Media, Gearbox, THQ Nordic.
It's pronounced Co, but all right.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, it's like cock to me.
What doesn't these days?
It's okay. This dude says.
They got that volition. It's always good.
So yes, surprising to see this happen. I think it is the right move for Square right now because they were losing quite a bit of money apparently. By the way, did anyone see that Outriders apparently hasn't made a profit either?
I think that's a little sketchy.
Okay, this is. I thought it was just me. I'm glad someone else. I'm glad you brought that up immediately. This is weird. Do you see you saw the arrangement on that, right, Sean?
Yes.
So this is, if I was Square, I'd be doing this arrangement too. Apparently, Square is gonna let People Can Fly know when the game's making money, and that basically when they have to pay them royalties.
Wasn't Outriders on?
It was on Game Pass, it's
still on Game Pass.
But people
got the check.
But people talked about it being like their contract was on sales, not on side deals. So
basically, they got fucked.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
So Square pulled the rug on that one, but that's the idea. Is apparently People Can Fly say, "Oh, Square will tell us when it's making a profit, and then they'll pay us."
Don't worry, we'll let you know.
Come on now.
Don't call us, we'll call you.
Yeah, so basically,
we'll let you know.
In their latest filing, they said they didn't receive any royalties, so they say they have to assume that it hasn't made any money. And I'm like, why? No one's checking in, and they just made a new expansion for it. I'm like, hold on a minute.
People out here working for free. What's going on?
Yeah, this is weird to hear that, because people were dunking on Outriders. That game's actually not terrible. Like it is a fun game at times. Like I think Evan said, he gave a little. And then... Evan, you played it, didn't you, Evan?
Yeah, I hated it. It was not great.
Oh man. Hey,
it was okay, but I ended up hating it. So
good Game Pass game.
It just felt like a really
Definitely a Game Pass game.
Dookie Gears of War, like
Yeah,
With
definitely.
terrible writing. The sequence of it going
the
from
writing, yeah.
oh
The
my god,
writing
this is
was
kind of
just the
scary to a
worst.
guy just making fun of people dying while he's killing them. You're like, what's happening? What's
So I don't remember a goddamn thing that happened in that game. That it was just the worst writing.
The writing was, some of the acting or facial features they did with the voiceover was kind of funny,
it
but
was okay for. I mean, like if you played it on Game Pass, it's like okay, whatever, you know.
it was a fun
Yeah.
action. It was an action
It's
game.
something
first and
to do.
foremost. There's something to do. I just thought the arrangement was kind of weird with Outriders for that.
I turned it off right after they said it's always like you have to be connected online to play single player. I was like, all right, done. We never put it back in.
Yeah.
I'm good.
There you go. Embracer buying a bunch of studios, buying some IPs. We'll see what they pull from those intellectual properties and use. But I think after the deal goes through, they're all of a sudden you're going to start seeing remasters all over the place again. So hey, if you're holding out for Soul Reaver, you might actually finally get it.
Finally.
So we'll see. Evan, you have a Discord question over there.
What game do you like that is universally hated?
Apparently Outriders.
Oh, I'll accept that.
Go on.
I mean,
I have a good one. Metal Gear Survive.
Oh, interesting.
Ass, dude.
'Cause, me and like one other person actually, or like two other people actually like it.
Huh.
If you get rid of the fact that it's a Metal Gear game and you just like play it as like a zombie survival post-apocalypse game, that's like also like a cross with Animal Crossing, where it's like all about base building and like taking care of your community back home and making sure that they're just safe from zombies, then yeah, it's a really fun game. Like if you stop thinking about it as Metal Gear game and you just think about it as like an Animal Crossing zombie apocalypse game with the Fox engine, then yeah, it's a lot of fun. But you have to make that huge mental leap and not think about it as Metal Gear Survive and like think about it as Animal Crossing post-apocalypse.
To the wider scope, Phantom Hourglass, but to just the Spawncast Pokemon Mystery Dungeon on the Switch.
fuck that game. I'm gonna go with Garfield
Agreed.
Caught in the Act on the Sega Genesis. Classic game.
That's a good game.
It is
What's
good.
the
It has
good
some
one?
of the best animation on the Sega Genesis, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's too hard. It's too hard." No, it's
What was
not.
the cop doing?
Huh?
Can I ask?
Drugs?
Can I ask a question with that game?
He got stuck in the TV.
Oh, good for him.
Can I ask? Does it have the original theme song like the?
No.
Oh.
Basically, Garfield goes into different because he gets sucked into a TV, and to get out, he's got to go through different levels, and all the levels
So
are
Gex.
based. Kind of. They're
Yeah.
based loosely on television shows. So there's like a prehistoric level, there's like a Casablanca level, a haunted mansion level.
That's
all sorts of
amazing.
fun stuff.
What
Yes.
an amazing concept. That's like the Rick and Morty like TV show, but like with Garfield like actually as the main character, not Gazorp Field, you know.
It's so good.
I'm
Great
gonna
game.
say Jedi Outcast because apparently no one on the Spawncast likes Jedi Outcast.
Fuck that game.
No way, Jedi Outcast is awesome. What the hell?
Oh, that
See?
game sucks.
See,
Played it
Gene
back in
knows.
the day. I thought it was okay.
Gene knows.
Yeah, I have it on my Switch still. Yeah.
Ah, see.
The problem was Spawnway. I had never played it, and Spawn was like, "Oh, it's so good. You gotta
It
play
is
it. You gotta
good.
play it." He hyped it up so much. Nate and I both bought it, and we were like, "What the fuck is this?" Like,
It hasn't aged amazingly.
I feel like you need nostalgia for it in order to enjoy it.
You do. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go over to Square Enix once again because after the Embracer Group deal closed, the rumors started. This one about Sony buying Square. And there's actually a lot more to this than I was expecting because it goes back a bit further. They say rumors are back after the Embracer deal was announced that Square Enix could be part of a larger transaction that would include Sony buying Square, adding their large IPs like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest to the PlayStation first-party lineup. It was claimed that this current rumor was indeed what was being passed around a few weeks back ahead of that PlayStation Plus revamp announcement. I think at one point people said there might have been 3 rumors going around, with the PlayStation Plus revamp being one of them. So Sony,
It wasn't people. It was the guy. What's his
one
name?
guy.
Greg Miller.
thank you.
Jeff-
So-
Jeff
I'll
Grubb's
call him
best
out.
friend, right? That's Jeff Grubb's best friend. They're really good friends.
So this is where we are now. Sony rumored to be acquiring Square Enix in some fashion. I have a lot of questions about this one, but what do we think? Is Sony really going to pull the trigger on this?
Yes. And they're gonna buy From Software, and they're gonna buy Kojima, Studios.
They're gonna buy the
everything.
restaurant.
You're gonna buy
Buy the-
Capcom, you know.
Capcom gonna
They're
buy.
gonna buy
everything.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna buy Nintendo. Yeah, no. My initial reaction was actually really close to what you said on Spawnwave Plus, John. Where I just feel like deals that big like don't really leak out. Nobody really heard about Embracer, you know. So like I just feel like a lot of it is, you know, just talks maybe, or like just that just happened to blow up as something that's closer to rumor. I don't know. And then my reaction as a consumer is, you know, I kind of really echo what OJ says really often on his channel and on his content, where like the JRPG audience is there is a base on the Switch, and and also on PC, and you don't want to ignore that, and Square Enix wouldn't want to ignore that. And you know, as big as PlayStation's a huge part of that pie too. You cannot ignore that, but you know, for a lot of their smaller projects, the Switch is the platform, and that there is such thing as a Switch effect for a lot of their IP, and also their mobile games. You know, the mobile games are the only things that's making them money, so they don't want to get rid of that either. You know. So
games are making them a lot of money. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's FF14 and the mobile games. That's it. You know. So I agree with a lot of what a lot of people have said, is in that like I just don't see the benefit of either Sony getting it, because Sony just gets the the big budget Final Fantasies. You know, the PlayStation is the platform for Square Enix's A team to just go ham on the budget and everything. And yeah, it's a great home for it. And they get that anyways. So other than like just wanting to hoard Square Enix for yourself, I just don't really see the feasibility in any of that. So,
you know, one of the issues that I see is because Square Enix is interesting. They don't fully own some of their other big IP, like Kingdom Hearts.
Disney's involved.
Disney's involved, so you'd have to broker something. That wouldn't be cheap. You'd have to add it on. And then Dragon Quest is, they own some, but the Hori family owns like part of that. So you couldn't just, they don't just get Dragon Quest as well. There'd have to be a brokering of a deal there. That's two major factors into the value of what Square Enix would be. And that's a very messy deal. I know Sony would probably just want Final Fantasy. I think that's what they really want.
That's it. Yeah, you just want Final Fantasy. Jeff just said, yeah, you want Final Fantasy 14. Absolutely.
And they already get that. Final Fantasy 14 is not on anything outside of PC and PlayStation. So
and I've asked Yoshi P, are you ever going to do Xbox? And they're like pretty much no. So,
yeah,
you know.
And Sony will pay for their Final Fantasy exclusivity. Like Final Fantasy 16, they got it, you know, and before they've gotten it exclusive in the past, and there's been handheld titles that have been exclusive in the past and stuff. So they always get what they usually want from there. So yeah, I don't really know what the benefit is, because I don't think they care about Octopath Traveler, and they don't care about Octopath, or they would have already paid for it at this point. Microsoft paid for it. Sony has not given them anything for
That's true.
So they didn't pay for that. I don't think they care about Triangle Strategy or any stuff like that either, you know? So yeah, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it could happen, but maybe it could. I don't know. Maybe it's a possibility, but I just don't see really Sony really caring about that when they can get what they want for the most part. I mean, but if they can broker a deal with Dragon Quest and stuff, maybe, but that'd be tough. Also, how much would it cost? Like the cost would be impressive because of Final Fantasy 14. That's the big thing because of how much that makes, and the mobile games. Like, how much would you pay? How much would it be? How many billions would it be for that? Final
Yeah,
Fantasy
that's
would, you know.
That's tough to try to figure out.
Exactly.
How much would it be worth for specifically the intellectual property and the future, you know, potential for it? And it's already set up. So I wonder if it would be the same value as what Bethesda was, or if it'd be less than that at $7.5 billion.
It's so hard to gauge, right?
Yeah,
I think
it
about
really
it, like,
is.
you start trying to add the numbers, like, man, over the course of 10 years, Final Fantasy 14 could probably make, I don't know, 40 billion or something crazy, right? It could probably make some type of crazy amount. Are you going to sell it off for 5 billion? Are you going to sell it off everything for 6 billion? That doesn't seem like a good trade-off, right? So it's like, it's tough to gauge the potential or what they could make.
People are saying Bungie costs almost 4 billion. I think Sony overpaid for Bungie. That's my opinion.
Bungie was 3 point something.
I think they paid too much only because they want the knowledge that Bungie has for launching live service games.
Yeah.
And they have obviously a massive future in that. So that's kind of the reason I think they paid so much for Bungie and still gave them their independence. That's not really a good comparison for, I think, something like this where they'd be buying Square for the IP.
Yeah, because Bungie, that's like, hey, they already have a live service plan that they're putting together, you know? So could you make that back and then some in 5 years, you know, or something? So I think that's how they're justifying or rationalizing the Bungie purchase.
So
you make it back in like, I don't know, shorter than that. Who knows?
What do you got, Sean?
Huh?
What do you got?
Obviously, some Tinder stuff on your cell phone. That's what you got.
No, I'm debating whether or not to get food because I'm fucking starving for some reason.
Get some food.
I don't think they are.
What should Sean buy? Let him know in the chat. Help him out.
Yeah,
Hashtag
I'm thinking
sandwiches.
I'm thinking Taco Bell, but I've definitely eaten too much Taco
Rolling
Bell
the
this
dice.
week.
Rolling the dice. Let's go.
And I have to go to Grandma's tomorrow. I don't want to be crapping my brains out. I kind of want a burger though, but I have turkey meat, like ground turkey meat upstairs, and it's like, well, I can just make a turkey burger. I'll just do that. I think. No, I don't think. I don't think Sony's buying them. Not in the immediate future, at least. I don't know. Something about that just seems a bit off to me. I do think they got rid of those Western studios for a reason, but that reason could have been to appease investors because of all the money that they lost on essentially just about all of those Western projects in the past 3-4 years. Like, I'm pretty sure all of them were considered a financial failure, correct?
Yeah, and they're so public about saying, "Oh, this game did terribly for us. That game did terribly for us." They say that a lot. So they've really been like laying the groundwork for like we really don't care about these games, you know?
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, could it happen? You can never say never, especially in this era of video game transactions. But do I think it's probable to happen in the immediate future? No, I don't.
Yo, Gene, they actually said this, which might be a little bit more disrespectful. We had the wrong team for Avengers.
That's crazy.
Like one of the top teams in the world, Chris. Like, so they even went that far to say, not that the game did that, but we put the wrong team on it. That's like extra.
It kind of feels like it's a shot at Square themselves, though, too, because they should have known that Crystal Dynamics what they're good at, and it's almost like. It's taking you have a, for example, with well, Nate's not here, with baseball, you take the pitcher and you put him in the outfield and you're like, all right, go do it. Or vice versa. You get the outfielder, go pitch us a 9-inning shutout. Go.
Well, they want to talk about good teams. Like look at how they managed Babylon's Fall and one of the best developers in the history of gaming, you know, and it turned out to be an absolute catastrophe. Like what happened there, you know?
Right about that, Jim.
Yeah. Well, what about that team? Come on.
We got Jeff Grubb here. Jeff, how we doing?
Jeff with the depth of field effect. Awesome.
Yeah, it's an NVIDIA broadcast, so
yeah, exactly.
Camera look expensive, exactly. I just got done eating wings, so I'm doing pretty good actually.
Oh, good. And what kind of wings? Anything good?
Yeah, we were going to get boba tea, and it's right next to a Wingstop place, and my wife doesn't usually want it, so I don't say anything. Hey, listen, we like to live dangerously. And I get in the car, and then she says, "Hey, you want to get Wingstop?" And then so we got Wingstop. I got buffalo wings, and
Wingstop is so good. Yeah, wings from the strip club, though, as I tweeted earlier today. Wings from the strip club are
my strip clubs never had food, and they always had shitty drinks. But there was a place that was.
You in? Is that even legal? Like
that's terrible.
This was in North Carolina, but
the
right next door was a bar that had a grill, and they had like $1.50 pitchers.
So they brought food over.
We would bring pictures over, just like, all right, hey, how's it going? Like,
that sounds so good.
Camping out at the strip club.
Yeah. Trying to find a wife, man. Shit.
Good place to start, guys. Strip clubs. Good place to start.
What do you think about Square, Jeff? Since you just popped in as we're rolling through that topic.
I mean, I was hearing those rumors too. I mean, that's what I was hearing at the same time as Greg. I'm sure that a little bit of that is echo chamber stuff. I'm sure a little bit of that's like him and me and him hearing it from the same people. But I definitely heard it from people that he wasn't hearing it from as well. Here's I'll put, like, you guys had a good conversation about this. I think you guys laid out all the reasons why this likely isn't going to happen. And I think that's a really fair take, because what happens when we hear the rumors about someone's going to acquire someone? Like, I know that Microsoft was asking for a price for Bungie. That did happen. Who ended up acquiring Bungie? Not Microsoft. So it's like it could be a similar situation here. So if I put on the tinfoil hat, I wouldn't be surprised if this was something leaked out of Square Enix because they are looking to drum up a higher price. They are looking to keep that competition high, and they want everyone to know that, you know, Sony could be buying us. And actually we want to be bought, but we want to be bought for a very high price. I think I think if someone does end up stepping in, I do think Sony probably still is in the running there a little bit. I do think Sony would love to have a live service game like Final Fantasy 14, just making profit year after year, padding those that profit margins. That would be a big deal, and I think that's why Square Enix made this move. I think the idea that they are doing this for their investors as well is a good point. But I think really when you start trimming the fat like this, when you take the hatchet to the profit margins and you're like, let's get rid of the things that were making us, you know, 0.5% and 3% profit margins, get rid of all that stuff. We want to be lean, mean, and just
you eliminate a lot of risk.
Yes, you eliminate liability. It's liability, and the more liability you can get rid of, the more attractive you look to purchasers. I think that they want to be acquired. I think that's what all these moves are about. Because you know, when you look at Square Enix, so you guys talked about the management. Does it seem like their heart is into it? It doesn't to me.
Not really.
For years now. So I think the people in charge of that company would be happy to be out. That's different than like Yves Guillemot trying to like partner with private equity to stop acquisitions and stuff like that. And EA is definitely kind of similar. When the Activision deal happened, EA was like looking around like, what can we do? Battlefield just flopped. What can we do to make sure that we look as profitable as possible so we don't become a target? And that's when you saw them start talking a lot about Apex Legends, and they doubled down on Apex Legends. And now every other commercial during like the NBA playoffs is for Apex Legends. Like that's what we care about, and it actually worked. Their profit or their stock price stayed high. So all these companies are thinking about where do we want to be positioned relative to an acquisition or to being acquired or to acquiring other companies and stuff like that. I think Square Enix is it makes a lot of sense that they would just say, hey, come and take us because we are sort of done. We don't have any ideas. I mean, that's what it was with these Western studios. They ran out of ideas. They tried Tomb Raider. They tried Deus Ex. They weren't happy with that. They tried Marvel. They were very not happy with that. And they're like, what are we going to do now? Go back to Tomb Raider and do a Deus Ex? No, they're just going to sell and wash their hands.
That's the reason I'm not willing to just dismiss the acquisition talks immediately, because what they just did does look like a company who's like trying to consolidate,
for sure,
become more efficient on a balance sheet essentially that you present. And that's why I'm looking at, like, if it wasn't for Yoshida or Nomura right now, I do kind of think Square would be in like serious financial trouble.
But the thing about it though, a lot of the Japanese companies that are like, look at Capcom. Capcom cut off almost all of the fat. They stopped making a lot of stuff and focused on
this is true.
Resident Evil and Monster Hunter. And then here's Devil May Cry. Every now and then they put 2 Devil May Cry games in the past 10 years.
But here's the interesting thing about Capcom.
No,
the word was they almost sold.
Yeah, well, they were in a lot of trouble. And
the word is they almost sold. Like they actually almost sold.
And I think if they were in that position today, I think they would have sold.
I think they would sell.
Selling for such high prices. Things are so ballooned. Inflation. These companies want to act now. So I think that I mean, OG, you're not wrong. Like it is similar, and I think that's why it probably makes sense for them to do this. Where it's like, let's get ready for maybe an acquisition, make ourselves as profitable as possible. Maybe someone comes in and buys us, and we can all cash out and go retire or whatever, go start new companies. And, you know, that's a thing that's worthy in Japan right now. But if it doesn't work out, then they still come out of this more profitable, and they can focus on the stuff that's working, just like Capcom. So that is like a plan that also works. I think it's
got to have multiple plans. They're trying to set
the way to look good is to lose the company that made the Avengers game that lost like $100 million. You know, so.
Capcom doesn't need a bunch of Western studios and stuff like that. They've been making plenty of money on Monster Hunter and Resident Evil.
They figured it out.
Square Enix can make plenty of money on Dragon Quest and Kingdom Hearts. And
Capcom was spinning there for a while until which game came out, OJ?
Monster
Hunter World. They were spinning for a while.
Monster Hunter World, yeah.
Here's a Capcom rumor that I wasn't able to confirm, but let's just do it. People can write headlines if they want. Before that, what was the dinosaur game that they just announced at that event?
Exo.
A few months before that, I was hearing that a Western studio was working with Capcom, basically in Montreal, working on a Dino Crisis game. And I'm like, God, yes, exactly. That's what I heard, and it's like, I think people were probably just getting their wires crossed, and it was actually this Exoprimal game.
Oh,
but,
okay, yeah.
Oh,
Because when you see
okay.
it, you think Dino Crisis. When you see that redheaded
the
chick,
girl was just like the girl. Yes,
Yeah.
she's got the gloves and everything.
Oh man.
I mean, I still think that game looks good. It looks like Dynasty Warriors with dinosaurs, Dinosaur Warriors.
Trash.
The best part about that trailer is when they were just,
dinosaurs is fun.
the best part about that trailer is just when they were dumping dinosaurs out of the sky.
Exactly,
Like,
yeah.
alarming clip.
Dinosaur weather report, and it's like an actual falling from the sky. Like, okay, I
looks like
get you're going
always-
for it, and I like it.
Always online, multiplayer focused.
Okay, well,
good.
always
looks-
online stuff.
It looks kind of forgettable to me, so they don't have to prove it to me when it comes out.
Yeah.
It's got some PvE stuff though, to where like you actually like there's like events going on, because I've looked at it, and like you can fight, and then you have to like 2 teams of 5 or 2 teams of 4, and you have to do a certain event. So like there's certain events, and you have to go from one event to another and see which team can do that. So it's not always, just like you against the exact team, but then you can mess with the other team to make sure that they don't finish off their objectives first. So I think that there's going to be some cool ideas. It's just not my style. So other people might like it if you're into multiplayer games and PvE and PvP. I think that it could be pretty cool for you.
I wish they would just make another Lost Planet game, but
That's the fat cutting. They
Exactly.
they just said, "No, we're done." And then they didn't even localize the spin-off of that, EX Troopers, which looked really cool and fun.
It looks really good.
We're good.
Yeah, I think Capcom did that so well, though. All these other companies have tried to kind of do that, but when EA did it, and like I've talked about this before, like they have a number that they think is the magic number in terms of profit margins, 15%. They want their games to have 15%, and so every studio's got to be like, when they're pitching their game, and here's how we get the 15% profit margin, and it's almost always a lie. It never really works out, and they still end up failing. But that's the magic number. So any series that wasn't kind of hitting that, they cut it, and then EA's left with what? Battlefield and some Star Wars games, and they stopped making those for the most part, and a handful of other things. While Capcom did it, they were like, we're going to double down, and then the things they doubled down on kept growing and growing and growing. I mean, Activision is maybe the worst example of this, where they're like, even games that succeed, like by their own metrics, they still stop making those. No more sequels to those, and all those studios just going to make Call of Duty, because that's going to make the bigger profit margin. It's
depressing, man. It's
depressing.
It's depressing right now.
It's also depressing because when you think about how much money went into Halo Infinite, sorry to talk about Halo Infinite for a while, but then like that's such a small team, and you see how well Warzone is being run because they just throw bodies at Warzone, and it's like, hey, like Microsoft and Bill Gates can't even like formulate an army to make Halo Infinite a decent live service, and they're just throwing bodies like they're building goddamn pyramids at Warzone, and it's like it's a great live service,
Yep. So the one thing I could say for Square and Sony is Sony could potentially look into Final Fantasy outside of just games, since they have their film division as well.
Yeah.
And even music. I mean, they could go all in with that and be like, look, we're gonna do a full series on demand series for Final Fantasy. We're gonna go after 3 different movies for it. We'll try to get into theaters. We'll do all this stuff.
Tifa.
So they could build this out further than just games. They might even see it as a way to take Final Fantasy to the next level, and they could be like, "Yo, Square, this is how we do it. We're gonna pick
and
you
it
up
has that
go."
underlying profit again. Like, it's already a well-oiled machine. If you're just looking at Final Fantasy 14, which might be all they really are looking at, they could build on that, like you said, with all this other multimedia stuff that they have ready to go, and you just sort of just bring on the profits of Final Fantasy 14, and it's sort of
Dude, imagine a Final Fantasy 14 Netflix anime show. Come on, man.
This is what I talked about before on like with you guys on this show is, when companies look at deals like this, even a company like Sony that doesn't have quite as much money in the bank as Microsoft, still has a lot of money in the bank, but they would probably have to finance part of this deal.
Yeah.
Even with interest rates going up, they would probably get still a pretty good interest rate. But when the interest payments, if that is still like less than the profits they're making each quarter, and that like it's again, like more than 8%, more than they would get by just putting that money in an index fund or something like that, to them, that is the deal paying for itself. That is how these companies think about it. So in terms of like the cost, I don't think that's much of an issue, even if it is like what would be like 4, 5, 6x maybe its market cap right now, which is like $6 billion in that range. So like we're talking $20 to $30 billion for this acquisition, maybe. Even at that price, I think it would still make a lot of sense because the interest payments just would not be as much as the profit they would be getting from something like Final Fantasy 14.
Okay, interesting. That would definitely be an announcement. That's for sure. That I assume they wouldn't even try to do anything with that until after this deal with Embracer closes. So that's set for end of summer, most likely. But well, I mean, hey, we'll see. I'm sure those rumors will persist as we go along. So we'll see. We'll see. Next up for Square is Final Fantasy 16. So we'll see how that turns out. Which it sounds like we're getting a trailer soonish. So just hoping it's a good one. Evan, you got a Discord question? I'll grab some super chats before we talk about Xbox DRM stuff.
Do you think
we'll talk about Halo first? We'll talk about Halo first. Good.
All right, do you think we'll see the Eidos publishing label return?
Oh, they are going to have to rename those studios, aren't they? Because Square Enix is in one of the names. Oh, they might, because the way Embracer works is they have a lot of independent, like I put that image in the chat there. They have a lot of independent arms that don't even really like talk to each other. So yeah, these 3 studios could just be under one publishing label that they form, and it could be Eidos. I mean, I guess why not? So I will say, I'm curious how they're going to do that. Jeff, do you think there's any possibility they offload some of these developers onto Microsoft?
Yeah,
Crystal's already working.
That's like a really interesting possibility where it's like, hey, once this deal's done, now we can maybe the way PR works, where like a PR company might have a conflict of interest, so they create like a separate PR company inside that PR company that just serves like something like Microsoft. That's actually how Microsoft's PR company works. Maybe they do something like that, and then they just say, oh, if it works out, you can buy them. Maybe it's on trial or maybe on loan or something like that. But even if they don't, just the fact that that deal is in place, it's like guaranteed money for them. So I think they're just happy to have that. But it's a distinct possibility.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. We have another Discord question, Evan.
What is the best game you've ever played that had a terrible prequel?
Oh, that a terrible prequel?
Oh, interesting.
Aw. Best game I ever played that had a terrible prequel.
Can't think of anything.
I just gotta think of like a terrible game, and then what?
Normally, terrible games don't become sequels. That's the problem.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the tough part. Usually, it doesn't work that way. It's like the opposite. Usually, the original is good, and then they just put out something for a cash grab.
I mean, you could say Street Fighter 2.
Resident Evil 0, and because I'm going with the actual meaning of like prequel, where it's like it comes out after, but it takes place before. Resident Evil 0 is pretty bad.
What?
Resident Evil 0 is pretty bad.
Oh my god!
I do think it's pretty bad. I played it recently. I just couldn't deal with it.
You guys think Resident Evil 0 is bad? Wow.
I don't think it's a terrible game, but like, God, like the fact that you have to keep dropping stuff and picking stuff up is just an absolute nightmare.
That's part of the
It definitely
Resident
doesn't
Evil
hold up.
experience.
It was better back then for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. This is from Patrol saying, shout outs to OJ and the pre-show crew. I asked question, OJ crashed my Lambo. Hashtag Mr. Davis fan club.
Has multiple tiers to that.
Yeah. Mr. Cal says, am I the only one who doesn't care about how games are delivered? I understand the downsides of digital, but we'll go mostly digital most of the time, and we'll only buy physical for games I really like.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, we are actually. Joe says, I can't wait for the Square Enix version of The Last of Us / Days Gone using the Sony template. In the past, you have definitely loved a game a first party would never have published. B2 says, any recommended console exclusive Wii games? The Metroid, Zelda, and the Mario games. Also, thanks, OJ. Epic pre-show. Console exclusive Wii?
Captain Rainbow. So there was just a English patch for that. I started playing it. It plays really good on Dolphin with mouse and keyboard. So
Tatsunoko versus Capcom.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say Tatsunoko versus Capcom. That's a good one. Yep. Conduit was kind of interesting.
The last story.
Conduit wanted Knight's Journey into Dreams.
Pandora's Tower. Very unique, very interesting, great story in that game. Gameplay isn't the greatest, but the story is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Tony says, is Metal Gear Solid 4 leaving PlayStation Now? Calls a new license deal for all Metal Gear games. Will start brand new next month, or is Konami planning a new You're Sean already laughing.
It's going away because fuck you. That's literally the reason.
That Konami's reasoning.
Yes.
I'd like to think that it'll pop back up. Either way, though, it'd be streamed anyway. Like we gotta get this game like natively onto a system somewhere outside of just like emulating on PC. We need it to get released in a collection or something. But
Yeah, it's buggy on PC too. I tried it recently. So
it's Konami. So
the bugs will kind of take you out. It's really nice, but the bugs will take you out. So it's like, oh god.
Yeah, at this point, the only native Metal Gear Solid 4 experience probably be Pachinko or somewhere in Vegas. Daniel says, "What's up, guys? Here's to a great show as always. But I wanted to ask, if Sony buys Square, is it less likely for us to get an HD2D of Chrono Trigger and it end up a remake like Final Fantasy VII?"
I don't think that's the difference between it. No,
I don't know if that matters either way. Like, I don't think if Sony buys Square, all of a sudden they're going to talk about Chrono Trigger or vice versa, or just forget about it.
Yeah. So I mean, Square Enix barely cares about Chrono Trigger right now.
Yeah, Square Enix is forgetting about the Chrono Trigger.
Why would Sony doesn't give a damn about Chrono Trigger? I don't think they care about Chrono Trigger. What they care about is Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, and probably Dragon Quest. Those are probably the things that they actually care about.
Let's see. Truly Epic says, "Hot take: New Tomb Raider is better than Uncharted."
I kind of agree with that.
Is that a hot take?
New Tomb Raider.
Yes.
I kind of.
I don't know. Uncharted 4 is really good.
Uncharted 4 is really good.
Better, but I mean,
but Tomb Raider has just like a better gameplay loop because you're actually kind of more in control of it.
I like
as opposed
Rise
to,
of the Tomb Raider. I thought was really good.
Rise of the Tomb Raider is definitely the best one.
I do like Rise of the Tomb Raider more than I like most of the Uncharted games.
Yes,
I think Uncharted 2
exact for me.
Yeah, Uncharted 2 is the game that I'll say is probably my favorite is Uncharted 2, but like Rise of the Tomb Raider to me is right there, and I like it more than the rest of the other Uncharted games outside of 2. But it's really close. I mean, it's like
I'm right there with you, OJ.
Multiplayer. You guys remember Uncharted 2's multiplayer when it 1st came out? It was like the best third-person shooting multiplayer back then. So
This is Tijo says, "Just a reminder that for all the praise we give Microsoft for Xbox Game Pass preservation, they have most egregious DRM, and it should be unacceptable." Oh, we got that coming up. Noah says, "If you could be put in charge of making a game for any series you wanted, which one would you choose? Mega Man X9." There you go. Parker says, "Hey OJ, I finished Persona 5 Royal recently and fell in love with it. What do you think of Royal and where Persona as a franchise is at this moment?"
Yeah, I love Persona 5. The original, I bought it, played it all the way through, beat it multiple times, beat Persona 5 Royal multiple times. And I think that right now the franchise is definitely at its peak, and they're going to have to work really hard to make Persona 6 better than Persona 5. But whatever they do, that team is extremely talented, and I'm really, really excited to see, because I think Persona 6 is definitely either like they've already been developing it, or there might be an announcement at the P Live concert later this year. So I'm really, really excited to see where the future goes with Persona, because that team has pretty much been all bangers since Persona 3. They haven't made a bad mainline Persona game in decades. Since Persona 1 and 2, maybe you can say those ones are great. They're not terrible, but they're nowhere near as good. So I like the trajectory of the franchise. It's just getting better and better and better with each mainline installment. So very good.
Joe says, "Glad to see you're getting into the Trails series, John. How are you liking it so far? Are you getting 0 when it comes out this year? No English voice, though." I started up, I'm like 2 hours in, and I have to really commit to it because it's like a 50-hour game. The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel on the PS4. I found the Steelbook copy at a good price in my area, so I picked it up. And I mean, it's still the beginning part. Getting 3 or 4 hours into one of these JRPGs that are like 50 or 60 hours is basically like scratching the surface. But I'm hoping that it's something I can stick with, because I like the idea of these JRPGs stringing together volume after volume, much like they did with Dot Hack. I really enjoyed that series back in the day, and it was because your memory card save would go from one game to the next. And I believe that's the same with this. So I'm hoping I can stick with it, but it's going to be like a 300-hour commitment across all the games. So we'll see. People seem to really like them, though. So Quate says, "Thanks for the video on the Game Boy Macro. I found one for sale since I don't trust myself to solder. I love it. Much better quality than I expected." It's a cool system. It's a cool project, actually. It's not too bad to get into either if you want to just try soldering something. William says, "Jordan, are you going to do an iCarly season 2 video?"
Yeah, probably once the season's over.
Okay, there we go.
Weeks.
Hits over hype says, "Could potentially Square Enix going to Sony if the studios Xbox Sony have bought make their games exclusive? Does that devalue the Switch at all?" Let me think. No, because it's still Nintendo first party stuff that sells the Switch. let me go to. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Xbox lost PlayStation 1 wanted to chime
Yes.
in. So I finally went to a therapist, wanted to apologize for everything I've said. Games are love, and Xbox is a great platform. Room for everyone.
Wow. The growth is beautiful. The character arc here is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, but then the other one came back and
Yeah, his buddy
Xbox
is
lost
awesome.
PlayStation 1. RGT is right about Jedi Outcast, wrong about Tang.
There should be another one in there, I think.
Is there? Hold on. Let me see.
well, there's a whole. It's a different character. It's
another character?
It's the Xbox guy or something or another.
Oh, we'll come back to that. We'll get to him. We'll get to him. I'm gonna stop there. Let's go to Halo Season 2, Halo Infinite.
Ugh,
Season 2 is
man.
underway. We played it, Sean.
We did.
You, me, Nate's not here and MVG's not here. But we played it. We got a chance to check it out. Gene, I know you played it.
Mhm.
Jordan, you get a chance to play it?
No, not season 2. No.
Okay, Evan fell asleep.
Yep.
Jeff, did you check out Halo yet?
I did. Yeah, I played with my community. I had a good time, but
Okay.
I'm not playing it by myself.
Mhm.
Oh gosh. So that's the interesting thing that we're going to talk about. We have a couple of maps that they added. They got Breaker and Catalyst. They have new Battle Pass, which is fine. Nothing on the Battle Pass jumps out to me, to be real, looking through it.
One thing I will say about the Battle Pass, though, is that when you look at what they're offering on the free track, the free track this season is much better than it was last season.
Oh, okay.
So if you're thinking about the freemium players, then you're actually getting a pretty good deal for nothing here.
Okay.
Because then you get armor coatings, you get like some shoulder pads, like a visor, like you actually get some decent stuff when you're not paying for anything. So that's one credit I'll give to the Battle Pass this season for sure. They made that better.
They also have the Last Spartan Standing mode that just wants you to play by yourself, and Jeff just said he's not playing by himself, so that kind of eliminates that. And that's the event running too. I played Last Spartan Standing. I played like 5 or 6 matches. I think I won half of them, and I
Look at you.
barely remember what happened at them. You start up with a pistol, a regular pistol, plasma pistol. As you kill people, you level up, you get experience, and then you just go through a bunch of weapons until you finally get to, I think it's BR and bullpup shotgun, and that's it. You just have a set amount of lives. Everyone just runs at each other for about 7 or 8 minutes. And then it ends. And the weird thing is, this feels like a tacked on mode, because like it feels like something that came out of a Forge mode. Only because when you lose, it's like, hey, you can just quit out now. You won't be penalized. It doesn't just kick you out. Like if you're playing a battle royale game and you lose, typically it just kicks you out of it and it goes back to the menu. This one, it's kind of like, you just go quit. It's cool. No, it won't be penalized. And that struck me as kind of like it was just sort of taped together for this. I don't know. It doesn't feel like that big high quality mode that I was hoping was going to come with this when it got leaked at one point. So it just feels like Halo again, like still the same thing, just new battle pass. That's kind of where I am with it.
I'm already kind of bored with it, even with Last Spartan Standing. Like I'm kind of with you, where like it's kind of fun, you know, it's pretty decent, but you have to play by yourself. You know, the event, you can only progress the event by playing Last Spartan Standing on that one map this whole time. So like, you know, Halo Infinite's weakness is that like, yeah, if you have a group of friends and you're just playing to play it, and that's awesome, because then you just get you have a whole smorgasbord of things to do. You can go to big team battle. You can maybe try a quick play match. But if you're trying to just grind through that event pass, which, you know, expires in a few days, then like you just gotta play Last Spartan Standing, and that just feels exhausting and depressing. And like I have to get 25 melee kills, so like I'm not even playing the game I want to, because I'm trying to punch people the whole time.
Oh yeah,
you know. So
See,
it's like
I have to be careful with this game, because when like me, Sean, MVG, and Nate are playing, I just noticed that like the next day my back is like really sore. You know, I'm struggling with
all
it.
the carry.
Get the fuck out of here.
Gary.
When did we play? The first night we played, yes. The second night, no.
What? No, the second night too. Then we got to the point where MVG
So
and
he
Nate
was
were
right.
like, "Hold on a minute."
Yeah,
You just said the first
John
night.
made up
dude.
half our team's kills by himself.
Yeah, but you do shit that doesn't even pertain to the game mode.
Well, we were playing Team Slayer, and I had like 28 kills.
I was probably on my phone, not paying
You
attention.
were. Because at one point I was like, Sean's not moving. He's lost to Tinder. No, the last one was oddball.
This man just goes there just to go there for the social experience. See, this man's not even, he's checking his phone while he's just
To be
standing
fair,
still.
the last one, Sean did carry us because he had like all but like 20 seconds on the oddball. Was I
good at
protecting him and killing like 30 people? Yes, but he was holding
30.
the oddball.
Wow.
It was a lot. Can we look up stats? I'll show you.
I mean, I believe you can.
Can
My
we-
order is delayed.
I'm so sorry, Sean.
It's gonna take like an hour now. I don't want fucking Wendy's in an hour.
Cancel.
Wendy's in an hour at like midnight.
Oh man.
Midnight Wendy's. Oh,
Because
man,
you
there's
know
some
the
memories.
food's done right now, and the guy just canceled going, so it's just sitting on a counter.
Oh, under the heat lamp too.
Sean, can I offer you a JPEG of Tifa in front of a sword in these trying times?
Yeah, that's fine.
That is a wild statue.
That statue is
crazy because
burrowed
when
into
you
my
look-
brain, and I don't want it to be there anymore. It needs to go
know,
away.
especially when you think about like what the sword represents. The sword represents Zack's grave.
Yes,
So
that's so fucked up. It's so great.
she's just bouncing cheeks on Zack's grave, you know.
Kind of want to
You
buy
guys,
it.
you guys talk about the twerking
The twerk blade, yeah.
Yeah,
The Jacko pose, yeah.
yeah. I don't think about it,
that's
but it's
totally
nothing.
not even that statue doesn't even make sense. That's totally not even Tifa's personality. That's the funniest thing about that statue.
Yeah, that's why I can't stop thinking about it because it just like ruins everything about Tifa. So it's just-
She's totally not like that, but hey.
So
she
the
isn't that one.
The thing with Halo that I realize is people seem to already be kind of moving on from this. Like, yeah, people look at the current player counts and all this. It's clearly it spiked when this came out and it's kind of settling back down. This is like their plan for the next 6 months, apparently.
I mean, we're back to waiting, right? This is the thing with this. We're already back to wait. That was what everyone feared. It's what's happening. I'm still of the mind where it's like I think later this year they could still maybe pull something off where we can feel good about it. But I don't blame what seems like at least half of the community feeling like this game is going in the wrong direction. I don't blame them for that.
I think they need Forge. Forge needs to come out as soon as possible because once Forge comes out, they'll just be able to walk into the office in the mornings and see what people made and be like, oh, that's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and rotate in this entire remade map of the pit from Halo 3 because these people made it last night. Let's just work that into the playlist after some testing. Oh yeah, it works well. Like that's the kind of thing that'll help them. And like Forge, there are like leaked like images and videos of it having full
really incredible
scripting.
stuff. Yeah, really incredible stuff in Forge has been leaking out, and they did confirm those leaks are real. So yeah.
It seems like Forge is way more than I was expecting.
Also, Joe Staten on Kind of Funny, the XCast, he kind of hinted that they'll be bringing back the old maps into Halo Infinite, which they really need to as some kind of buffer, and it'd be a lot of fun, and it'd be a nice way to turn Halo Infinite into your one-stop Halo shop. You know?
Yes. Be the successor to Master Chief Collection.
Yeah,
overall, 'cause
exactly.
It's Infinite, right? Go get Zanzibar. Go get Guardian. Go get Pit, Blood Gulch. Actually, make Blood Gulch, not like whatever this thing is we have now that pretends to be Blood Gulch.
And they have a certain affinity still working on the other modes. So
Yeah,
being the
Tatanka.
follow up to MCC would be really ideal in the
almost-
meantime.
I almost wonder, like that. I think Windows Central may have mentioned that had been in development for like 2 years or something. Like it's been a while.
Yep.
I wonder if they're thinking like because of the way it's going now, where it's a bit of a slow start, if they tease that at any point. Like summer game, like their summer showcase, do they go, hey, here's a little look? Because they did that weird thing during the last season where they had like a glitch happen and it had like a little message in there that even they were pretending like they didn't accidentally do. And
that had to do with the current season 2 storyline where with the banished AI and everything. So they're kind of weaving that in, which is fun. Like it's great. It's like the I Love Bees ARG. So it's like it's nice to see that maybe they're cranking something up for more exciting stuff. You know, Joe Staten is behind Staten is behind the narrative, and he's actually a good writer. You know, so.
Yes. So I hope they are able to push this stuff out for the fall and get that done, because Forge should be their main focus. I think that would solve a lot of their short-term issues when they get the community involved. So unfortunately,
I think co-op gets it back on Twitch and stuff, but I think you're right that Forge matters more long term. Absolutely.
Do you think people would sit and watch other people make stuff in Forge?
Yeah.
Do you think that'd be a big
Oh, yeah,
Twitch
totally.
thing?
Oh, yeah,
Be like,
100%.
we're just doing Forge today. We're gonna try to remake this scene from Halo 2 with the big
It
scarab.
wouldn't just be that.
Idea would be to turn Forge into some kind of Minecraft, like some big budget Minecraft, right?
Show how things work. It would almost be like a tutorial thing, just live.
Okay, see, that's what I mean. That seems like that would be a big deal for them to do that. So hopefully,
Halo Infinite educational program,
or just to do weird things
For
like
schools,
let's
for
try to make the
preschools.
first level in Mario 64, but with Halo stuff.
oh,
in
you know,
it,
people
like
are gonna do
stuff
some
like that.
weird stuff with that. They are definitely gonna try to remake stuff from other games.
exactly. Mario Kart levels, of course.
Yeah.
Mario Kart, yeah. I mean, you got the Warthogs and stuff. You could do something, or the Mongoose. You could run
The
around.
Mongoose, yeah.
That would be fun.
And the Mongoose have rockets on them too. Come on.
Yeah, we would do that rocket race all the time. That they put that into an actual like rotation on. That's what I mean. They can get all this stuff going. So I hope they have that out this year, and I hope it doesn't break immediately when they release it.
It's gonna break immediately when
I
you
kind of
release
feel
it.
like it's gonna break immediately.
Season 2 was already breaking it. But like you were talking about how like it's supposed to track your challenges. It wasn't tracking challenges for like the first 2 days. So like that just makes me paranoid for it to even play Last Spartan Standing now.
Yeah, I'm hopeful, but it's gonna be a while.
Yeah.
So end of this year, I guess. But I'll just work on filling out the battle pass when I can. Whenever random people decide they want to jump in and hop on my back, we'll go.
You want this to be your one and only game, right? Not exactly, but like, you know what I mean? Like you want this to be your forever game. That's the real issue here, is it's not meeting that standard. Because for me, like checking in every couple of weeks, we have a community game night. It's been fine. Like I have like a fine relationship with Halo, but the people who want it to be the game they should go to every single night, no one's
Exactly right, Jeff. Like, if you want to be swimming in Halo Infinite, like you used to be swimming in Halo 3 back in the day, or Halo 2, or Halo 4,
Halo
then
3 had the community before like how it is now, where everyone's connected on like the social media stuff. Halo 3 kind of had that with that community, because they had like the website set up, and you would go on there, and you'd had it was cool when you were waiting for your match to start. You would go in and you would have like the community tab, and you'd go through and you'd see the screenshots of the week that people picked, and one was like somebody getting hit with 8 sniper bullets all at once crossed up, and and people had the creations they put up there, the maps, the game types, and you would go in there, you'd hit a button, and you'd be able to just download it and add it to your playlist. Or they had videos, and people would do some crazy stuff, and you'd be able to download it and watch it in your own theater. Like there were so many cool things, and randomly Bungie employees would jump in, and they'd be the ones with the flaming helmets, and if you killed them, you got a flaming helmet. And it was a different time.
And before Halo 3, before each the regular competitive match, like everyone could just vote on maps. So like everyone's just yelling at each other about like what maps they wanted.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh,
you could vote on maps. It was super fun.
Since those days, I forgot about them. Man.
Yeah, multiplayer gaming used to be really fun back in the day.
Yeah. What a shame. Now everyone's just mad.
Yeah.
I gotta run in a second. Can I ask you a quick question before I go, though? Do you think anything is really going to happen with those WB studios?
Oh gosh. So my thing with the WB studios is I don't know why anyone buys them if there's no intellectual property involved. Yeah. Because you could just poach talent.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly what EA did. The EA has that new studio in Seattle, started by people who used to be at Monolith, the one that did the Middle Earth games. They started a studio with those people. And it's like, okay, why wouldn't you just do the same? If you're not, especially if like you're not going to get Mortal Kombat. Like Mortal Kombat's the one that has to go if NetherRealm goes, right? And if it doesn't, well, then you would just go and say, hey, you guys want to come work for us, and we'll give you a bunch of money. You can start something new, I guess. But
it's like a respawn situation, basically. Yeah.
The only thing I can think of with that is Microsoft maybe trying to buy NetherRealm so they can finally get their Killer Instinct. That's the only thing I can think of.
If NetherRealm would come and work on a Killer Instinct, that would be weird.
Yeah, they might just work on a Mortal Kombat.
I mean, Mortal Kombat makes a ton of money, so yeah, it would be kind of thing where it's like, if you're going to buy him, you're going to let him make another Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, so I just don't know why anyone would pick them up unless they desperately needed the studios for, like Embracer may have bought them if it was cheap enough, but they got a deal on. If they needed a workforce, they got the deal right there, $300 million.
And they got the IP, and they get the IP with it. So it's like,
what was the number that they wanted? It was something crazy.
$4 billion. It was $4 billion for like all the studios. I don't think that included NetherRealm really, because I think that was like going to be a separate thing. But even if it did, $4 billion and no No IP. You'd have to then pay them a license fee for the IP. That's still the deal they seem to want, though. Maybe that number has changed, but that overall structure of the deal is still what they want. And that's just like buying risks and liability and a whole workforce and like all these things that you have to then take care of to then just give this other company money for an IP license.
I feel like they're
insane.
in trouble now because that Embracer deal kind of sets a bit of a market. And if I'm going to buy them, and I've been looking at it, I'm like, you got to cut this thing in half at least, because Embracer's bought like 1,100 employees for $300 million with the IP. Yeah, they probably are. Probably that's it. Because WB sounds like they really want to get rid of these studios. Yeah. And they want to be Disney, where they just license stuff and don't deal with it. So,
yep. And the thing is, Disney would kind of like, I think, like to be in WB's position, because all their stuff during the pandemic wasn't making money because all their stuff required people in person and stuff like that. They got Disney Plus, but they're like, video games, man, this is great. So
they should sell it. WB should sell them to Disney.
Yeah, swapsies. Yeah,
just sell it to them. $4 billion. Disney will find it on their couch.
Yep.
Go do that.
All right, guys, I'm gonna get going.
Right.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for the invite.
Hey, Jeff.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye, Jeff.
Check out Jeff Grubb over on his channel. Check him out. What do we have? Evan, we got Discord question over there.
Yeah,
we're gonna go to Xbox DRM.
I don't think we talked about this one, but this was back for the Square thing. If Sony buys Square, would Nintendo be pressured to make a significant acquisition itself?
I don't think so, but you know what would be interesting is because when the Bandai Namco stuff went down, Nintendo, they kind of pieced out Monolith, didn't they? Didn't that happen?
They never. I'm not sure if Bandai Namco was ever owned Monolith outright.
How did that go? There was like they pieced them out somewhat. Somehow Nintendo ended up with Monolith Soft, obviously, but there was like they kind of cut some stuff up, and I almost wonder if Team Asana would somehow end up with Nintendo, if they would actually make a play on that. Like, hey, you guys, I probably don't want them.
I personally think, yeah, if that was something, it would be, obviously there'd have to be lots of deals in place, right? Because like Kingdom Hearts and Dragon Quest all have various who owns IP, fully split, whatever. Right. And I think Team Asana would definitely be something that maybe Nintendo would look into, but I just don't know. You can't really gauge that Nintendo would even care about anything, because they haven't made any major acquisitions next level, and that's just because they make Luigi's Mansion, and Luigi's Mansion makes like $1 bazillion.
Was Monolith Soft like the last one where it was like, oh, they're actually bringing in outside, like I mean, they worked, but like that's not like next level, when all these studios where they always work for Nintendo. This is like,
I feel like Nintendo would feel like they have their bases covered with Monolith Soft, which to be fair, I mean, the Xenoblade Chronicles is on par with, at least in terms of quality. So if they want to just market that harder, they will. And
I don't know. I think they'd probably try. Maybe they would try, but like they let Alpha Dream go up in flames, and Alpha
they did.
And
they probably just quietly hired people from there too, and never said anything about it.
That's what I thought too. I was thinking they probably just, because like you didn't hear about the other people from Alpha Dream. You don't hear like where did they go? Yeah, they probably just got hired from Nintendo and just worked internally on. So like they probably just did, because like Alpha Dream
went there. They probably went to like Bandai. They probably split up. So they probably
Alpha Dream was super small. There's like I think like 10 and 12. I mean, there wasn't many employees there. It was very small. So
let me go to Luke, who says, thank you guys for all the content. Any updates for what's next for 3D Mario? Enjoying replaying Odyssey right now. Ooh, hey, that's Sean. You speculated about a new 3D Mario at one point, didn't you?
It'll be something.
Do they do Odyssey too, or you think they do a new one?
I think
I was just thinking about a new 3D Mario too. It's like, man, it's been kind of a minute now too. So
it has when the Switch, the year that came out, basically. So
I think they wait till the next system and just launch with the big, like, what was it, Bowser's Fury? But way expanded.
Just launch the next machine with another Mario. I mean, that'll do it. That'll get me
Mario Kart.
That'll get all of us day one. Like absolutely. 100%. So.
Mario Kart. What if they did Mario
Kart 9 is the ultimate launch game.
Yeah,
just launch with that. It's over.
That would be awesome.
It's over. Yeah. Julian says.
Infinite.
Yeah, Mario Kart Infinite. Hey, there we go. Super proud of Xbox Lost owning up to their mistakes. Muso-style Star Wars game when?
That would be fun.
That would actually be really cool.
Please, yeah.
I'd be all right. That'd be fun. Back says, Sly, Jack, or Ratchet? Which one's the best? Ooh,
I like Ratchet, but
I'd say Ratchet's
did
the
like
best,
the
but
Jack series, but it's
I
probably
did love the
Ratchet
Jack
now.
series. So yeah, I love Jack, but the Ratchet series are.
The Jack series got kind of weird though as they went along, because originally it was like this fun, happy, like platforming game with like a little bit of a dark twist on it. Then they just went super dark side as they went through it. So
Yeah,
I love the dark side. I love dark side Jack. Yeah. I love
But,
edgy Jack.
I mean, I guess I'd have to go with Ratchet at this point because it stood the test of time. So
Still around.
yeah, it's still around. The Uncharted says, which companies would you all not want to see the big three acquire, not including companies like Apple or Tencent? Company would not want to see the big three acquire.
I think I'm good on acquisitions. Just can we just like all just relax?
Yeah,
Just-
total, all of them. Yeah, I don't want anyone to own anything anymore. I'm good.
I
You know.
not want to see that. Well, no, hold on. We need someone to buy Konami, right?
Oh well,
Someone needs to buy
At least
Konami.
our IPs.
Konami needs
I
to do
mean,
anything with anything. But yeah,
Konami,
yeah.
it's like, yeah, we would love it, but it's just like Konami's not gonna do it because they make pachinkos and they make merchandise.
Yeah, they're
and
putting out all
they're
that
not gonna
Silent
do
Hill merch I keep getting emails about now. It's great.
it.
Oh
So
gosh.
it's like it's like a, I don't know. It doesn't.
Hey
make
guys, I apologize, but I'm gonna head out. I think I'm about to hit my limit here. So
Okay, Gene.
Oh, no,
thanks,
thanks
for,
bro.
thanks for
Yeah.
joining us tonight,
Yeah,
man.
it-
Everybody, make sure you check out Gene. I got his Twitter down in the description.
yeah, just Xbox DRM. I couldn't play some Xbox games over the last 2 days. It's crazy. I can't, like that's like I agree with everyone. It's absolutely insane. Like I wanted to play Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas 2, and I couldn't buy it. And then when I bought it, I couldn't download it. And when I downloaded it, I couldn't play it. Like it's crazy. Like every step of the way, I was just being blocked. It was absolutely like just like anti-consumer the entire step. But the game still works and it's great. So at least there's that. So
Thanks, Gene, for coming out,
right.
tonight, man. I appreciate
have a
it.
good night, guys, and thanks everyone for
Easy,
watching.
Gene.
Good night, guys. Bye.
Later.
This one's from Matthew. Favorite Sega Saturn game? We got Sean.
Of all time?
They just said favorite. I'm gonna hold you to that all time.
I would say that's hard. I could give you a top three. Like
Okay.
I would say Virtual Fighter 2,
Uh-huh.
Panzer Dragoon Saga, and Wild Card Resident Evil on there. I think that version. I like that version of Resident Evil more than I like the original.
I've never played that version of Resident Evil. Okay.
The graphics are chunkier, but I think it looks better somehow. And there's like an added mode in the game.
This is from back saying predictions for when we'll see Persona 6. OJ, you kind of mentioned it earlier. They're gonna have an event coming up.
Yeah,
It's not gonna be wallpaper on our phone, right? It's not gonna be that.
No,
maybe a bigger announcement.
They've had a history of announcing actual games there. Now, is it going to be Persona 6? Maybe not, but there might be like, let's say, a Persona 4 Golden on consoles, or there might be something. But yeah, signs are kind of pointing to potentially a tease. It's probably going to be an announcement of an announcement, of like, just keep it real. But we probably won't see Persona 6 until the generation has matured even a bit more. So I'm thinking 2 to 3 years from now, we might see Persona 6, because right now the install base just isn't there. And I think the game just hasn't had the development yet. But right now, if you're launching it on PS5 only, or let's just say Series X and PS5, that's a problem. There's not enough systems, so, or they'd have to make a PS4, an Xbox One version, or maybe even a Switch version or something like that. And I don't know if they're going to do all that for Persona, which they never do at launch. So we'll see if they've changed, though. I mean, Soul Hackers gets multi-platform stuff for Switch. So we'll see what they do going forward. But yeah, I'm thinking that it's going to be at least 2 to 3 years before we actually see the next Persona game, although they might tease it or, trickle it out, whatever,
Are you sure it won't be Persona 5R Q Strikers dancing all night?
It could be.
It could be. waiting for that one.
This is from Liam. Says, will Hori/Disney let Dragon Quest or Kingdom Hearts be exclusive? Hey, for a while, Kingdom Hearts was exclusive.
Well, yeah, but they would have to, if Sony purchased them, they would have to broker a deal with them. They just don't get to buy it because they don't outright own it. So it just depends on even if they could get it in the first place, they might not even be able to get it. So it would just depend. They wouldn't, if you buy Square Enix, that doesn't mean you automatically get those IPs. You'd have to broker the deal and who gets what money. It's definitely complex for those two, especially Kingdom Hearts.
Iowa says, would they get exclusives to Tomb Raider? He's talking about Embracer. Yeah, Embracer would own Tomb Raider. Yep. So they'll be doing whatever they want with that, which sounds like we're getting a new one with Unreal Engine 5 with Crystal Dynamics. So it'll just be several years from now. But hey, you could see remasters of the older ones from like the Dreamcast, PS2, PS1 days on current platforms. So look out for that. Wolf says, great podcast, Alex. Destin is here. I might have been the wrong spot for that super chat. I don't know. Don't subscribe to Game Pass, says Jeff Scrub.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, that's a good one. Jeff Scrub. Disliked and flagged, ducking me. Clown emoji. Jeff Scrub. That's a good one.
Jeff Scrub.
Yosemite says you can't beat Magic City Wings in Atlanta. RGT over there at NCC and Grandma's Dancing.
There were some decent ones there, but a lot of questionables.
Don't subscribe to Game Pass says, don't listen to Jeff. Said
Another
Xbox
one.
Live
That was
is
the other good
going
one.
free. Oh, okay. And then Omni says, just wanted to say hi. I'm behind the stream. Thanks for the show. Thanks, Omni. And then Banana says, OJ and RGT are on their phones all the time. Are you chatting with each other? Besties.
I'm chatting with loose women.
Don't say you're
ordering food.
I'm not on my phone all the time. I'm just simply looking down at my keyboard.
This is Richard says, just calls exclusive to PS5. I think Square still has the publishing rights to Just Cause.
Yeah. Outriders, Just Cause, and Life is Strange. They still own all those publishing rights. So.
Xbox lost PlayStation 1 says, wait, OJ crashed your Lambos too. He says, what is your dream Marvel game and which studio? The Punisher, Naughty Dog, or the Coalition? Ooh, what is your dream Marvel game?
I'm kind of tired of Marvel games. I'll be keeping it a buck.
I don't think we've had enough of them. Just we had Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy. No one's done anything with Iron Man really. We had that Iron Man VR game, but like nothing with the Hulk. We got Hulk
games.
Ultimate Destruction. No one's touched it since. Like,
bring me back a decent modernized beat 'em up, maybe even co-op potential for like a Marvel game. They kind of tried to do it with Avengers, but they heavily fucked that up.
We need a Daredevil game. That's what I want to see. That's why
in VR, everything dark.
One is not that.
You're entirely playing based on your headphones.
Daredevil.
It'll be crazy.
They did Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which is like that classic old school kind of like beat 'em up, game.
Yeah.
So,
I like that. Daredevil is the one I want to see. I don't know who would make it though, because Insomniacs, they're busy with Wolverine and stuff. But I would like to see someone try to do a Daredevil game and just try to, because the DualSense seems like it'd be a good thing to use for that. But I don't
Morbius.
know.
Let's get Morbius next.
Morbius. Okay.
I want an Ant-Man game from the people who made Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, okay. That would actually be good. They had the dialogue down. They had like the storytelling segments.
Perspectives with shrinking and growing.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah. Okay. This is from Perfect saying, hey guys, I'm watching you for a while. You're awesome. My question to the panel first, would if Sony decided to make Vita 2 with the new PlayStation Plus make sense? For a Vita, if you could play those retro games on the go, like through a Vita. I mean, I'd like to see them make a Vita 2. That'd be cool. I don't think they ever will, but yeah, I would get the Vita 2 and then the PlayStation Plus to go along with it. Yeah. Knight says, you guys are the best. Thanks so much for all the content. Xbox lost PlayStation 1 says, therapist mentioned I may have split personalities.
Says you're open about it.
About Killer 7, dude.
This is I just dropped this is from Yum saying I just dropped the kids to the pool and I still love watching your show. I just got a record of Lotus and it's sold out in a day. Is it worth it?
Yes.
Daniel says, have any of you played I Am Setsuna? If so, what did you think of it?
I have.
Oh gosh, that was like back when the Switch first came out, wasn't it?
Yeah, I bought it physically. I imported it.
That was a while ago. Man.
This dude has been at fucking Wendy's for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, he's eating your food right now.
The food is already done. It's been fucking done.
What happened to just making a turkey sandwich? Or turkey?
What'd you get from Wendy's anyway? What's under the heat lamp right now?
Well, currently nothing.
Yeah, currently nothing because Carlos seems to be keeping it to himself. Let me pull up my order here. I got a spicy 6-piece chicken nugget.
Yeah.
Okay,
Baconator fries and a junior bacon cheeseburger.
You're just gonna put them all together in one big thing and just eat it?
No, I'm just gonna sample them.
Georgie says, John, stop using Bungie Destiny as an example. Any day one Destiny player can tell you year one of Destiny 1 2 launched like infinite bare bones week updates. I pre-ordered Destiny 1 and 2 and see if these at launch. Yes, but this is
I
the
feel like Destiny did have
third-
infinitely more than Halo, though, even though it was bare bones.
It did. It had more when it launched. It definitely did. But
Wait a minute.
343 has been. The problem is 343's track record now with an IP like Halo, whereas Destiny was brand new.
Yeah, this is
Halo's been around for a minute, and 343 has had poor launch every single time.
This is your flagship title. This is what you know Xbox for. You can't launch, in my opinion, you can't launch a game like that. I mean, like I said, I get it. It's fun to still play. I played it for a bit, but I'm actually flabbergasted that it launched like how it did, considering the history of Halo. Like it doesn't make any sense to me, but it is what it is. But yeah, man, like, come on, it's Halo. Like,
This is Yum saying, who would buy that Square Enix's Final Fantasy VI $14,000 statue? That statue was really $14,000?
yeah, it was like legit.
What?
I thought the one he was talking about was 700.
I thought somebody accidentally hit a zero.
No,
Wow.
there's another statue. I think it's like what, Terra or whatever. Like there's like another like 12. It's like 12 grand or something like that.
Yeah,
for that
I know.
statue.
There's huge ones. There's crazy
Yum
ones.
says that
Yeah.
there's a $3,500 Nier statue too.
They make all sorts of big old statues.
Wow,
And
here,
expensive
Yum. That's
statues.
that is quite pricey for a statue.
Question is, what's the height on it? Probably won't be equivalent to what you'd think. Let me check.
8 feet tall. That's $14,000. Daniel says, "Who bought Reggie's book? What did you think?" I did not get Reggie's book.
I will buy Reggie's book.
I might. We'll see.
I will buy it
Review-
later.
People say that it's a good read. I don't know.
Y'all read?
I'm reading right now.
It's only 2 feet tall.
What?
Yeah.
$14,000? That's $7,000 a foot.
It's 3 different characters. I don't know. I don't know why they did that.
Does it look good at least?
Eh.
Like high quality?
Yeah.
Good detail?
All right.
Okay. Let's go to Xbox DRM. I missed this because I was actually playing Horizon Forbidden West at the time. Of course, the one night I wasn't playing Halo Infinite, all of this happens, which we would have known right away then. But Xbox got hit with an outage, and this ran for several hours, and people started to realize that their games were not working on their system because of the way Microsoft seems to handle their DRM stuff. Some people were saying it had to do with secondary versus primary console, but then others said no, even my primary home console that was set as wasn't working. Basically, it comes down to, once again, we see the effects of DRM or always online requirements backfiring if there's an outage. This just after we dealt with the whole thing with Gran Turismo 7, Sean, where there's an entire day where we couldn't play a single player game. And here we are now with, it looks like Xbox having their own issue. This one a bit more widespread, as it had to do with a bunch of different games on the platform. I do know when you put a game in for the first time, especially if it's like a backwards compatible game, it has to call to the server, download stuff, or if you're even just setting up your Xbox, has to call to the server, has to get like a verification, all this. So that is something that goes on with even with physical games, not even just digital games on the Xbox. And it's been kind of going under the radar for a little while with it. Occasionally it pops up from time to time, but it was trending on Twitter yesterday because everyone was basically complaining about the outage affecting their single player games as well. So was Don Matrick like 7 or 8 years too early?
Well,
I mean,
he didn't provide the overwhelming value that you need to indoctrinate people to think that it's okay to have all digital, that it's okay. He just said, do this right now. And everyone's like, no, you need to
He's
provide.
too direct.
Yeah,
He was straightforward. What is he doing?
Right. No, and back then, 10 years ago, we would never even fathom, for the most part, people thinking, oh, you got to download a game online for the whole thing. You can't play a physical game off. You got to install everything. That's stuff that people weren't looking at. But slowly but surely, they've introduced features and introduced things to where it gets people comfortable with downloading, with playing online, with relying upon digital. And they slowly got people to think it's okay, we can do this. And now look where it's got us now, though. Now they're relying upon online for things. And when you want to play a single player game, you can't. It was slow but sure. They made it okay. So that's the issue that I have, is that everything now, or at least not everything, but a lot of stuff is, you got to download it. Even like the physical games, it's like it's the Xbox One game. You got to download it from a server. You got to download it from there just to play a single player game, and it affects your your games. And it seems like this stuff is like built into the nucleus of the Xbox, because I don't see why they couldn't make it to where you can just play a single player game offline.
I mean,
but now they're
I do that on
building
Steam.
it in.
So I don't know.
Steam, exactly. Steam can do it. So they're building these features or building these things into the actual game to where even single player games need it, and that's scary. I stopped buying games on Xbox. I used to buy my games on Xbox Series. I got educated a little bit, did some more research, and from earlier this year, I stopped buying everything. Now I just buy if it's multi-platform, I'll buy it on PS5, because PS5 at least still you
can still install it. And
it installs off of the disc.
Yep.
Whereas the Xbox, they're not quite there yet with their smart delivery and everything. So it's for me, I'm done. I was done a while ago buying the games on there. I'll buy games on Xbox Series again once they start making it to where you don't need to have that, and the games are the series versions is actually on the disc. But until then, I'm buying the multiplats on PS5.
It is weird. That's the first time I have not bought a Halo game when it released physically, because the Halo, like the entire game, is not on the disc.
Yeah,
it's very weird to me to see that.
It sucked, man. I wanted to buy Halo, but I can't sit here and say what I'm saying right now and then go out there and support that same thing that I'm saying that we shouldn't support. So I was just like, well, I just got to take an L on this one. But yeah, I have every single Halo since day one. I go out there and buy Halo. I've been a day one fan of every single Halo. I have all of them, but this is the first time I was like, man, I really ain't gonna buy Halo day one.
Yeah, it was like that. It was very weird because it was built up, obviously smart delivery. The idea is you get the game, you pop it in, and then it goes out to the server and finds the right version for you. And this seems to be either the drawback they're dealing with or the intended effect that they're dealing with, since we also had digital only consoles launch alongside of the disc-based versions this generation, the first time that's happened. I think we are just conditioned to the point where it is just accepted now, because you do see people online who are just like, well, it's just kind of the way it is. That's sort of it. And it's just a massive shift from what I was used to when Don Matrick attempted this to where it is now, where everyone's just like, yeah, it's cool, I guess. It's fine. Like, I saw MVG and people were replying to him like, yeah, whatever. It's oh, wow. That's where we are.
Yeah, that's just like I said, but it wouldn't have gotten there without the overwhelming value, without the Game Pass, and without stuff like that. The big digital sales and things.
Yeah, because once you buy the Series S, which at $300, I mean, that's, people see that as a really good entry point. You don't even think about buying physical games anymore because you don't have the disc drive. So you're like,
And the thing about it, which I say is, like, I said this on the pre-stream, the Spawncast pre-show. And, some people were like, they didn't understand. But like, when I say indoctrination, I don't mean people are stupid or dumb enough to get to learn, to just do whatever. But it's like, disk drives aren't expensive. It was purposefully left out. They are manipulating the market just a little bit because a disk drive doesn't cost $100. Sony purposefully made it $100 cheaper, knowing that if you go all digital, they control everything. They're removing retail cards. They're doing all these things to push it towards, you got to be online. You got to download online. You don't want to sell your games. Everything's there, where they own digital rights management. They own everything, so that's the goal that they're trying to do and succeeding. But these are some of the drawbacks, like you said,
Sean, what are you thinking here with this? We went through the whole deal with Gran Turismo 7. You almost fell over in your chair in that video. How you feeling?
I love those videos too, by the way, Sean.
I'm thinking that they delayed my order once again, and Carlos has left. So now I'm trying to cancel the order.
Oh my gosh, what a saga this is turning into. Wow.
Dude, they said it wasn't going to come to like 11:30. Like, no, I'm not playing that.
What?
That'd be an hour and a half since I ordered it. It's literally like 10 blocks away. No, I mean, it's a problematic thing because of the fact that, games are reliant on servers nowadays, even your single player games. We saw it with Gran Turismo 7 and they had to apologize. We're seeing it now with the Xbox outage. Seems like it's affecting some people. Some people seem to be fine with it, but unfortunately, it's just where we're at now with video games, and there's really because companies want to have control. Companies want you to buy digitally because then you can't resell the game and there's no used game market. And now if you want to buy the game, you have to buy it through them. You have to give them at least some of your money, because you got to remember, if you buy a game on day one for $60, then they're like, oh, I don't really like this. You sell it for $45, $50 on eBay. Companies don't see a penny of that money. Right. So, you know, they want to have control over these marketplaces. They want to be able to dictate when you can and can't play games. And that's why, people say, oh, you know, Xbox is way more consumer friendly than PlayStation is. But it's like, I mean, at the end of the day, they care about money. They want to make money in any way, shape, or form. And if people get screwed because they want to make money, oh, well, there'll be another person that will take your spot. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, let's be real. We've talked to a lot of people on this podcast, and we see some people who are completely fine with just all digital. I mean, if you play on PC, you're just like Evan. You're fine with digital completely now, right?
It's pretty much the best ecosystem. I love hearing about consoles not getting it right. It's exquisite.
So you're good on digital completely. What about other launchers? Are you okay with like Epic being on your desktop?
No,
and then like
I tend not to go with those because those are still very far behind. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's just waiting for this type of stuff to catch up in terms of features and functions.
Okay. So for the most part, it just looks like the writings on the wall. Digital will eventually completely take over. I think Nintendo will be the last holdout, but how long do we think until there's just no more physical games from the big three anymore? It's all digital. That's it.
Done after this gen.
You think this is it? This is the last gen? Yeah. Well, yeah, but like, let's say Nintendo. How long until do you think they just do physical like indefinitely, or do you think there is a point where they're like, let's just
will hold out
go digital
the gen after? I think the gen app, they're gonna try their best, because they tried. A lot of companies kind of tried with Nintendo with the half cartridges, and those were rejected very like negatively. People, you know, didn't buy those, where stuff like Witcher and stuff like Monster Hunter, the games that actually had all the game on the cartridge, did considerably better than those like half games. You know what I'm saying? Like the games that would make you download, and people really dislike that, and those didn't do as well. And we pretty much don't see those anymore now. You know, like we don't have. When was the last time that we saw like a?
Well, the thing with Nintendo, what's interesting is their system lines up really well for an all digital future, because people don't want to carry cartridges around with them all day. So the idea that the Switch could just have a large SD card, you have like 20 games on it, seems to be enticing for people.
It does and it doesn't, just because of the fact that if you are playing an always online game or a multiplayer focused game, traveling around with it, that's not helpful. The moment you leave your house, the Wi-Fi drops. That's it. Like it's not important at that point. I mean, at the very least, you get your smaller games, and that's great. But like anything major that you would want just is going to stay away from that type of ecosystem.
You'd have to tether it to your phone if you're going out somewhere, or you'd have to, you know.
I don't think PlayStation 6 and Xbox Series Z or whatever they call it will be all digital.
No, they will be.
Okay, so you think like let's say 7 years from now, the new ones come out. You think they're going to still have this drive?
Yes.
Okay.
Dude, Sean, Sony cut the price of the all digital by $100, and a disc drive. It's their own proprietary technology. That to me shows that they are like sweating to get people to buy. Like,
well, yeah,
how do you cut a system by $100 because of a disc drive?
They want people to buy it, but I mean, statistically speaking, it's still not the norm yet. I think they'll expand upon it in the next generation.
Do you know this kind of reminds me of? Do you remember when the PS4, Sean, was first shown, and they said there's no AV port?
Yes.
There was some backlash there. I don't remember that. I remember this specifically in store. There was some frustration from customers that like, I can't use component cables or AV. Yeah, but now no one even thinks about it. They're like,
that's definitely different, because I mean, what do? You buy a box. Like, I'm not going to buy a server for myself.
But the changing of the times in general, because like with PC, I was the person who was buying all the physical stuff on PC. And now it's weird when I show people my box copies of PC games. So like, what is that?
But that's different. That was different.
But people don't even put disk drives in their computers anymore.
Right. And I understand that, but that took a while, and that's just been the standard for it. There's a reason why. Look, the way I view it is, if that could have been the standard for console gaming, they would have done it a long time ago, because they want people to give them more money, and you make more money on your digital games because you don't have to worry about physical products.
Right.
If they could get away with it, they would have gotten away with it. Now, I think people are more embracing of the all digital future, but how much of that is people buying the PlayStation 5 digital because that's all they could find? You know what I'm saying?
They're gonna have to make a decision when they're designing this next system, because if they remove the disk drive, they can remove some of the cost. They can slim it down more. There's a lot of things they can do. Like the PS5 digital looks better than the PS5 disc version because it doesn't have this weird thing on the side of it.
But they're both ugly systems.
I wonder how that's gonna go when they go to the drawing board and they're like, let's design. Or be interesting is if Nintendo attempts an all digital Switch this generation.
They really shouldn't. And if you look at the sales when it comes to the breakdown, people still buy a lot of physical games on Switch. That's still the dominant way people buy games. I think Microsoft and Sony, it's getting to the point where it's, I think, above the digital sales are better than the physical sales, if I'm not correct.
Individual companies also came out with stats. Didn't Capcom hit or some other company hit like a 70% digital or 60% digital or something?
I think EA has. I think Take-Two's close.
Yeah, so that's why by the end of the generation, it's definitely going to be maybe 70% or higher for all companies. Whereas Nintendo, it's a bit flipped. It's like 70-something% or higher, depending on the game, physical, and the rest digital. Some games do have a high digital ratio, like Animal Crossing is like anomaly for them. That's like 50-50 or something like that, or close to 50-50. But a lot of their other games like Xenoblade and stuff like that, a lot of it is physical. Like the majority of it is physical. So I think that it's going to be harder to push the all digital on Nintendo fans than it is with Microsoft and Sony so far. But no, they really, I would be the first person to not buy that system, and say no all digital, because we know what's next. We know what's coming after all digital. There's the always online. There's just there's stuff like that.
Well, it gets even weirder because Microsoft's trying to normalize streaming, and they're going to have this streaming puck or stick. So now we're not even talking about downloading games and playing them natively. We're talking about just streaming them. And if once they normalize that, then you might as well say goodbye to that disk drive. It's over.
The infrastructure isn't there yet.
Well, yeah, I would say that too. But again,
have you played? Have you tried to play Halo? You really think that the infrastructure is going to improve that much in that amount of time?
It's barely there for what we have now, considering most games have day one patches, and there's people in the middle of bumblefuck nowhere who are just like, exactly. I can't update this, so I can't play it. So that's great.
My one of my good friends, he just got an Xbox Series X for Christmas, and he was like, what the fuck, I can't play anything. I was like, well, just download it. He's like, dude, there was shitty internet
John
here.
And I had that one family that actually swung into our store occasionally because they didn't have internet at their house and they needed to update their PlayStation to play some of those games.
Yeah we'll see. I am curious to see how this generation plays out with the digital splits, because that'll tell us where they head for next generation. Do we have any Discord questions left?
Yeah, we still got a handful.
All right, we'll go through those as we finish up.
All right, let's go with, what are the chances there could be an X-Men Legends sequel or 1 and 2 collection?
That would make me really happy, so it probably won't happen.
Probably won't happen.
That would be awesome, by the way, X-Men Legends, like a collection or something. That'd be cool.
I guess last week we had a question about getting a person using a puppet on here, and he also talked about a talking sock. I guess he just wanted me to shout that out. Another channel. Okay. We have a guy who spilled honey onto his keyboard, and he's wondering possible best methods to clean it, because he apparently scrubbed it down and it's still unresponsive.
Oh, that's too bad.
Get a dog. Just have him lick it out.
The problem is, with these keys, you have circuitry and traces underneath, and once those start getting bridged, and like if it's honey and there's a lot of sugar in there,
he says it's not. He says it's not like in the keycaps or whatever, or within that. It's just making the keys go down, and then that's it or something.
Oh, they're stuck.
How much is a keyboard?
It's a sign from above.
Yeah,
it's time to buy a keyboard, bro.
Just get a new keyboard.
Keyboard could be nice.
Get a new keyboard.
Yeah, the
bruh.
amount of work you're gonna have to do to clean, that's not good. With GPUs becoming better priced, to anyone who wasn't able to get the current series, are you planning on waiting for the next gen release?
Yes, I'm gonna take a shot at the 4 series when that gets announced. I'm gonna try. We'll see how it goes. I'm gonna plan it out this time and see if I can make it happen. Otherwise, though, there's gonna be 3080s dumped all over the place, I'm sure, online.
All right, and then the last one we got, anyone on the cast backing or interested in the Cat 2 VR treadmill? It's apparently a 4-foot by 4-foot slide
I saw
treadmill that you can
gosh.
hook to your PC, PlayStation, and it apparently just working on supporting Quest.
I have not thought about doing that, but it looks ridiculous. Like it's the idea is to get you to be able to run in place in VR, but actually like move.
Yeah, it's one of those zero friction surfaces.
That sounds like vomit.
We just need to get to when holodecks can be installed in our house. Get me to that point in the future.
I was actually interested in holodeck because I think that type of technology is cool, but
Get me to that future where you walk in and you can be wherever you want in like a room in your house.
yes. Or like a real life scouter.
That's just
Or
a
like real
that's just a
life
room of
scout.
TV screens that you can press a button and it just
Imagine like
I'm thinking like
Vegeta
Star
and stuff.
Trek. Like where you
Yeah.
walk in and they have the wind that's simulated and all this stuff.
Yeah,
but
that'd
it
be
was all
cool.
hard lights, so you could turn off the friggin' restrictor and actually
be
use guns
awesome.
in it to kill people and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, wait, hold on.
I was thinking, I always thought that one of these days I'd get like a what was it? Like what did Goku train in when he went to Namek?
The
Like, one
gravity
of those.
chamber.
Yeah, like I want.
You
Oh,
technically
yeah.
have them. It's just constantly spinning.
Yeah, that's gonna make me sick. I want one that
Yeah.
actually I can like train.
Yeah,
You know,
you stand against the wall and then just keep
Oh,
the speed
gosh.
going.
No, but I need to be like punching like Goku was. I need to be like fighting and kicking. You know.
This is from On a Ship saying Spawnwave recently picked up all the Mega Man collections on the Switch as the cast Mega Man expert. In what order should I play them in? Thanks. Ooh.
In the exact order that they came out in.
You could do that. I mean, Mega Man 2 is the class. You can just go right to Mega Man 2. It's
No.
cool. You can do that.
You must, if you buy the collection, you must play all of them in
Two's
the
good.
order.
I like Mega Man 3 was pretty good too. 6 was cool because you got the rush jet, you could punch things. I like the X series more than anything. You can jump right to X, and X is awesome. Start with 1, go to I like 3 after that. And people really like 4, but I think it's just because you can play a 0 all the way through. You can get the beam saber in 3 though if you do a few tricks. But I would go right to X, X1, X3, X4, go back to X2, and then finish up with 6 and then 5. Make sure you wrote that down. This is from Perfect saying, me and my 8-year-old daughter built a streaming and PC game because she wanted to be a game streamer. Any pointers on using OBS? That sounds like an Evan question.
Just check basically anything. There's so many tutorial videos on YouTube. Look at those. Watch a bunch of them because they'll go over things that you need to know about what to actually run. And if you're on Windows 10 or above, make sure if you can run things in admin mode, make sure OBS is at least running in admin mode or it won't hook to things.
Well, you do like the transitions back and forth between different scenes and you have the music playing and all that stuff. That's
Yeah.
all in like studio mode, right?
Well, that's just check tutorials. It shows you
Yeah.
you can make stingers. It tells you how to like direct that and set it up. It's all very easy. Once you learn the terminology, it gets easier. Of course, like the word stinger being the transition, if you can look that up.
You would say look into like the Streamlabs stuff for the like all the stuff you can do on screen if you're streaming.
Streamlabs,
for community-driven stuff.
there are alternatives, but Streamlabs still seems to be the big one, even though they do have some issues. Basically, I guess stealing OBS's stuff and using
there
it.
you go.
It's weird.
Okay. Spyro says, Jordan, what is your favorite Hey Arnold episode?
He is muted and gone.
Thank you, Jordan. We'll come back to him. Tijo says, if you don't have internet connection, we have a product for you. It's called the Xbox 360. Fabi says, yeah, I used to do DoorDash, and Wendy's is known to be short-staffed, and the staff that is present are lazy. What happened is the drive-through line was long, and your driver also was fed up and left.
They gave me $10 for free and let me cancel my order.
Oh, what are you buying now?
Nothing. I'll get something else another day. It's too
Why not
late.
treat yourself to extra Taco Bell?
No.
Jake says, why hasn't there been silence on TZ Dragon 2 remake?
Panzer Dragoon 2 remake.
Panzer
Because I
Dragoon
just did House of the
2.
Dead. It's Forever Entertainment. I don't think they're a huge company.
I'm gonna have to look into that, Sean. I don't know.
I can ask them.
I'm gonna check out Streamlabs as well as we go around here. Sean, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on RGT85. I think I did a good job of offending lots of different fandoms this week, so make sure you check out the videos. I complain about Reggie. I complain about Mario Strikers. Lots of fun stuff on there. And tomorrow I open up a very rare sealed Game Boy Advance product and test it out.
Oh, very nice.
I have to finish that tonight.
This is Streamlabs from Saiku says, we always see Ishihara from the Pokemon Company and Masuda, but why doesn't Satoshi Tajiri make any public appearances or announcements for the creator of Pokemon? He is really secretive.
I mean, I've been wondering that my whole life.
I watched a documentary on Pokemon recently.
Okay.
And the reason why is because he felt like he's fulfilled everything that he needed to do and in the spotlight, and he feels that he passed the torch to everybody else so they can do it. So he stays out of the spotlight and he collects all of his money.
There you go.
Liam
Liam says, I really hope Nate's Twitter prediction of Square remaining multi-plat if bought is true. Before someone says stop complaining, just buy a PS5. $600 is a lot for some, assuming you can even find one. It's a very valid complaint / concern. Yeah, again, I don't know how all that's going to turn out anyway. Who knows? Square just may stay Square independent. So
maybe they'll rebrand a Circle.
Thanks, Sean. Massive says, OJ, you for all the digital console future, you say what's coming next, but Steam is all digital and they're doing it correctly right now, according to what Evan said, offline single player. So why wouldn't console, since the competition makes it happen?
I mean, just
they don't view PC as competition.
Well, Steam lets you be offline for 30 days before you need another check-in, right?
In
PC land, that is literally an eternity.
It's sometimes, yeah, but sometimes it's like hit or miss. They've changed that rule a couple times. It also, the Steam still, I think I've checked it, lets you take the game you've downloaded and installed and actually back it up as a thing you can reinstall off of an external hard drive or a USB stick, so you don't have to re-download it from their servers too. Like, it's a whole thing. I think
Nintendo has that for their Nintendo Switch Online stuff. I think it's 30 days and then it has to check in again.
No.
They sort of have it for the different systems, but not necessarily for like Xbox, as we're seeing. So they definitely need to work this stuff out if they're really pushing for this all digital future.
And I know people who've talked, I've seen a couple people in chat say something like, well, what if Steam shuts down? It's all still like, they've said it, but like, it doesn't mean it's going to be a reality, but they've talked about announcing it like a year or two in advance, and then allowing people to download everything they want, back it up what they want, and then you just have it. Basically the DRM and the check-ins stop, and you can just have the Steam software and run everything off it, is what they've said, but we're not there, so we don't know.
Okay, let's go over to OJ. Where can everyone find you?
Yeah, you can find me right here on YouTube. I've got a really cool podcast that I just recorded. That'll be up tomorrow on Mother's Day, or today, depending on where you're in the world on Mother's Day. So make sure you guys check that out, Player Essence. And also we run the Spawncast pre-show around 7 Eastern on Saturdays. So you guys can check that out as well. And I've got a huge video on Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I've been catching up with the lore and everything. And if you're someone that wants to get into the franchise, you're definitely going to check out this video. I think it's going to be either Monday or Tuesday. And it's also going to give you some shortcuts if you want to get in, but you don't have the time to play. I found some videos that are really helpful. That'll help you get caught up so you can jump right into Xenoblade 3. So yeah, that's a pretty big video that I'm working on. So make sure you guys check that out, Player Essence on YouTube. And John, thank you for having me on. I appreciate that.
Yeah, this from B2 says, which Pokemon game should I play? The only and last one I played was Pokemon Yellow at launch.
Arceus.
There you go. I'm going to say Brilliant Diamond. I actually enjoyed that. That was a good traditional Pokemon game.
Fuck out of here.
As the one person here who's played it because Jordan's not here.
I played Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, okay? And
hey, I beat it. It was fun.
I've already beat Diamond and Pearl a million times. Arceus is like so much better.
Arceus is all right. It's all right. Jordan's not here. Evan, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Kimmerix Project. I think we'll announce the shirts next week, so I won't have anything about that. But when I'm going live for streams this week, I'll usually tell you about it there. I don't think I'm going live Monday, but hopefully Wednesday and Friday we can still go back to Chaos Gate and all that. It's a new game, pretty fun.
Okay, Very good. Very good. I think that's going to do it here for Spawncast. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you guys next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time.
What if I told you the next Nintendo Switch console is going to have a virtual console server?